I'm just gonna blast off. Honestly, personal news wise, it doesn't matter really what's going on in my life. I'm just so excited to cover the fucking news. You know, I wake up at 5 a.m. dialed in, reading, tweeting. My life is dog shit. You know, my life is nothing. It's just all work. But honestly, it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. You know. Israel's approval ratings in the shitter, gearing up for war with Iran. UK Greens victories are on Trump, shows Dems how to lead. Clinton Epstein panel, Cuba attacked by Florida, billions will hope. You know. Will you be watching Candace Owens' Bride of the Charlie doc series? No, it's fucking washed, bro. That shit is washed. I thought it was gonna be like a pre-made doc. You need a cloud on the ear. Take care of yourself, man. What does that mean? Listen, folks. We're blasting off, okay? Let the people freaking know we're live and we're freaking alive. I'm gonna start today's conversations with Goyim. Okay, with the word Goyim. Apparently, Anna Kasparian is goy posting. And by that, I don't mean like she's posting slop. Well, I guess technically she is kind of posting slop, but she's goy posting by saying the goyim are waking up now, bitch, which is, I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to have a different approach to this conversation because this is a relitigation of Zog, right? Zog means Zionist occupied government. And it is a David Duke, I think it was like a David Duke invention. But also, it teeters, it is a anti-Semitic meme because of that reason. But like, it's one of those things where it's also, like, there are a lot of Zionists in the motherfucking American government, right? So it's one of those things where people get really mad about it. And the discourse itself is like, yet again, another cycle of like, this is anti-Semitism, this is unacceptable. But with the Goyim situation, it's just so, like, even Zog especially is Zog aside, the Goyim thing is so fucking cringe. Okay? My take on it is perhaps the most like centrist, moderate, middle of the road approach, which is, thank you. Yeah. Can I get a straw too? Just one is fine. Thank you. My take on it is first of all, two takes. Number one, the greatest modern application of Goyim happened 2 years ago on this day, literally to this day. Okay? To this day, like, this has never been topped, in my opinion. Like, it will never be topped. Eat your goy block and shut the fuck up. Because the person who posted this, okay, the person who posted this had anger in his heart, had anger in his soul. He posted that thinking, like, Jews have made my beautiful wasp decadent dining experience on Delta Airlines into a Biscoff cookie, which ironically enough, I think about this post quite a bit. I reference this post quite a bit because this is, for me, it's a load-bearing post. Because Biscoff cookies are fire. Like, if you've ever had one of those goy blocks, you're like, yum, this is delicious. Like, this is a cookie that is making this otherwise horrifying experience much more enjoyable. And everything about this post I've thought about, I've endlessly talked about alongside, you know, my favorite anti-Semitism PhD, Felix Biederman. But it's like down to the size of the goy brick, the goy block, down to like how large the way he took the photo makes it look so massive. Just every part of it is perfect. It's a beautiful, beautiful version of this kind of like goy posting, right? I think it's the only time it's like funny is if someone else is sincerely using it in an angry moment. Okay? If it's like a straight up fucking neo-Nazi who is using this language sincerely. For me, this is modern art. Having said that, I cannot stand motherfuckers who are like, you see, Jewish supremacists rule over us and they call us goy cattle. You are not a fucking serious person, okay? If you are Gentile, if you are a WASP, if you are non-Jewish, and you sincerely utilize the term goyim, and like you try to like adopt it personally, okay? Because you saw in the Epstein files a peek into what, you know, Jewish supremacist people refer to non-Jews, and it like bricked you, it one-shotted you, and now you're like, oh, this is, oh, it's just, I can't believe it. Like, they're fucking owning us. Like, you're silly, okay? You're silly. You're a silly person. That's why I said the only good read on Goyim discourse is silly when Jewish supremacists use it. Like, it's racist. It's racist. It's racist when they use it. But it's also kind of silly because, like, I guess the conversation literally goes to, do you genuinely believe Jews control America or not? Because if you believe Jews truly control America, then you're like, this is terrifying. They're calling us goy cattle. And that's literally anti-Semitic. Like, it's so fucking stupid. It's not Jews, it's capitalists that fucking control America. Are there Jewish capitalists that play a formative role in American foreign policy and like the grand design of capitalism? Absolutely. Okay? But everything beyond that is a simple distraction. It's very frustrating to see. And that's why I said it's cringe when Gentiles use it sincerely and hilarious when actually angry groypers use it to indicate a rabbi is going around making the food for wasps more bland during air travel. Guys, I don't know how many times I have to describe this to you. Okay? While Israel as a nation state has now taken on a much more significant role in directing American foreign policy, specifically in the Middle East. At the end of the day, America benefits, or at least American capital benefits, in the exact same ways that they did with Iraq, in the exact same ways that they did with Afghanistan, in the exact same ways that they did with Libya, in the exact same ways that American capital thinks it will benefit in Iran. It is not a secretive Jewish cabal that has dominated the country on the basis of Judaism. Are there Jewish people in positions of power that really fucking love Israel? Absolutely. Are there Christians in positions of power that really love Israel? Also, absolutely. There's not really a lot of Muslims in positions of power except for Zoran, my Takia goat. Maybe a handful. So not even worthy of bringing up. But I think it's unimaginably cringe. And not only is it unimaginably cringe, it's like, why are you signaling that you are like a fucking dude on 4chan who's like 45 years old? It reminds me of the way that people think like Muslims talk about kafir, right? Non-believers. Like Christians think like, oh, Muslims are fucking, they're talking about the kuffar, the kafir. They want to kill all of us. They want to do taqiyya. It's like, no, dude. I mean, is it a real thing that people will say? Is it a real phrase that people use in the language? Absolutely. That's a really bad slur in some parts of the world. See, that's what I mean. It's like, it's a really bad slur in different parts of the world. Also, it's literally tattooed on fucking Pete Hegseth's arm. I don't know where it's considered a slur. It's not considered a slur in like Turkey, for example. I never learned about it as a slur. I don't know what you're referencing. It just means non-believer. South Africa? Wait, really? It's the same as the N-word? Wait, why? I had no idea. That's so weird. Anyway, we're not going to get into the etymology. I'm talking as a Muslim dude living in the United States of America who has like learned this language, like the kafir means, non-believer, and it doesn't, like, it's not utilized in a sincere manner. Like, no, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because like, if you ask Christians, they will say, they'll say, like, this is the fucking, that's a slur. They call all of us kafirs, like they want to kill all of us. They want to kill all the apostate. And the reason why I'm saying it's like similar to Goyim is because, like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure for some fucking weirdo fundamentalist, like Jewish supremacist, like, yeah, the word Goyim has a lot of like, has a lot of weight associated with it. Like, they do sincerely believe. There are certainly some people who sincerely believe that like non-Jews are lesser than, right? But that's not the entire fucking religion. Like, it's idiotic, right? And it's the same with the way Christians think the word kafir is like this incredibly dangerous term that the Muslims are slinging around. They're like, they're slurring us, right? Bro, this is so funny. Look, this guy. It's a very harsh word to use in some countries. Yes, dumb chatters. Islam kills apostates. Hassan's so uneducated about Islam is crazy. What do I do to this guy? How do you not know kafir is harsh? Shaking my head. What do I do to this guy? To all to the ummah that's in the chat right now. What do we do with him? What do we do with a guy like this? This guy knows better. Okay? Listen, Muslims, shut your fucking stupid mouths, Muslims. A Christian is talking. A Christian is talking. I have done the reading, sir. You must be lying to me about your fucking personal experiences growing up in a Muslim country. That must be a lie. You are lying, sir. How do I get to this guy? It's so funny. No, brother. No. Never said lying. You are just kind of out of the Islamic culture, it seems like. How into the Islamic culture are you? I'm talking about my own personal experience. And I'm pretty sure that, like, most of the places in the MENA region, this is not like, this is, first of all, the killing of apostates is fucking ridiculous. Okay? Like, I saw someone saying that in Iran, right? Like, in Iran, they killed the apostates. It's like, brother, even in some of the most, like, rigid, fundamentalist structures of Islam, you are greatly fucking exaggerating what takes place. You watched television shows and you read Sam Harris, and now your understanding of the Muslim world is so fucking busted that you are literally talking to a Muslim dude who grew up in a fucking Muslim country telling you that's not the fucking case, and you're like, dude, you're out of touch. What the fuck do you think is going on, bro? You think this is a Crusader Kings campaign? What are you talking about? The punishment for leaving Islam is death. That is literally true. It's not practiced everywhere, but that's why calling someone a kafir is very harsh. Dude, we will never be able to recover from the damage that fucking former Muslims did to Western discourse. We will never be able to recover from it. This is never going to be fixed, okay? Because so many of these motherfuckers wrote books to be like, guys, I promise you, I would get fucking killed because I'm an outward atheist, okay? And Jank even fucking plays into it as well. Jank plays into it as well a little bit. Like, I hate this shit. I fucking hate this shit so much. Yeah, Ayan Hirsi Ali, all of these fucking people came to the Western world and did the Yeonmi Park bullshit for Islam, where it's like, I promise. Yeah, I told someone I was an atheist, and then they told the morality police, and I basically had to escape. I had to escape the country, otherwise they would have fucking killed me. They would have killed me. And it's like, which country are you from? Lebanon. They would have killed me. Which country are you from? Turkey. You are not tapped in, brother. I'm tapped in. I listened to Bill Maher, Sam Harris, and those are my favorite. Those are my Those are my favorite thinkers. Apostasy does have the death penalty in Afghanistan, Brunei, Mauritania, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, the United Arab Emirates, Iran, and Yemen, but it doesn't seem to be applied all that frequently. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's fucking, it's not. It's not like, it's like thinking that people still chop your hand off for stealing. Okay? This is not even a defense of like any application of this idiocy in general, but it's fucking ridiculous. It's like thinking in America they execute you for violating sodomy laws. Like, oh, really? In numerous states, they have sodomy laws still. Do you go to fucking prison for butt fucking? No, you don't. Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ. Your mom in Alabama sucked my cock and she didn't go to prison. What does that tell you? Okay? Is that just a minute thing? Philippines is a Muslim archipelago, and most of the people I know there switch between Islam and Catholicism like it's a soul's weapon set, too, cheesing a boss in Aji style when they get married while staying in the same town. I'm just hearing about this K-word discourse. No, it's just, I can't. The reason why I use that as a comparison is because it's like, it's situational, but for the most part, in most of the planet, it's not as serious of a word to use. But Christians, especially those in the Western world, greatly overemphasize the severity of this language. They will literally be like, no, they're saying that to us because they want to kill us. You understand? Like, they want to kill the non-believers. They want to kill the non-believers. And it's so funny to hear like some dumb fuck being like, I'm Muslim. And actually, if you do call someone a kuffar or kafir, that means like you want to execute them. Like, you're a fucking idiot. Shut the fuck up. And you're also freaking, you're freaking the brother, they're calling us infidels. Chatter is an Islam engineer, bro. On Allah, bro, I swear. Yeah, it's incredibly fucking stupid. It's totally overblown. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, it's the same with fucking Goyim. It's the same with Goyim. It's just like, it just means like dumb, non-Jewish person. That's the best way to describe it. Gentile is the kinder way to reference non-Jewish people, and Goyim is like the dumb, like like John Fetterman. Well, I guess he's more of an ogre, a Gentile. Sorry, not gentile, Gentile. Whatever. So, you know, it's like gringo, gaijin, Yankee. Like, there are numerous versions of this. It's not serious. I don't think we should even entertain this idea of Goyim being a slur of race. It's identical to Latino saying gringo or Hawaiian saying haole. There's no institutional Jewish supremacy outside of Israel, so who the fuck cares? Exactly. That's it. That I agree. The reason why it's like annoying me is because people are taking it super seriously, because like they're like, well, Jeffrey Epstein is like a domineering, towering force in American politics. Like, he was the load-bearing pedophile of American politics, and he was calling non-Jews Goyim. Like, it's ridiculous. It doesn't reflect anything. Like, it doesn't reflect anything serious. And people that actually get super invested in this discourse are unironically and inadvertently, without realizing, genuinely leaning into this like Jews control America shit. Okay, I'm not just saying it because it's like, ooh, it's scary, like Nazis use it and you shouldn't use it for that reason. Clearly, I don't give a fuck when Nazis use it. I think it's funny. Like, I'm literally showing you that there are hilarious utilizations of the word Goyim, especially when it's attached to other words like this. That's like a very funny practical application of it. I'm not saying you're like signaling yourself as a Nazi. At the end of the day, when I see people like Anna saying Goyim, it does make me extremely uncomfortable as a Jew. A couple months ago, Zoomer on Twitter using Goyslop, and someone pointed out that it's a literal Nazi term. They were like, oh my God, I had no idea. I'm sorry, I'll stop using it. That's the leaking effect of Nazism. Yeah, exactly. No, it is 100%. Also, Goyslop is kind of a banger, but that's neither here nor there. We're not going to get into that. It is kind of funny though. But you know, like I said, it's just the slop affix is good. It's good. It's you know, we're elevating Jewish voices. We're not saying Goyslop. But like, my point is, there are a lot of people who don't even know where this is coming from. There are a lot of people that don't even know where it's coming from, and they're using it. And I don't think people who are anti-Zionist should be using it. I don't. especially like you can make jokes about it if you want. Obviously, I do all the fucking time, but like contextually, like using it sincerely as a way to like fight back against Israeli influence or Israel is influence in American politics is fucking insane. Okay, because you either think that Jews control the American government and they are like organizing on the basis of being a part of this international monolithic Jewry, or you think this is American imperialism and Israel's existence hinges on its purpose for American empire, and at times Israel has been able to overstep its boundaries and also set up a pervasive network of influence in the United States of America that churns out a bunch of fucking self-selecting psychopaths who genuinely do believe in Israel dominating the fucking region, right? Also, the Majority Report. Thank you for the raid. I'm starting to think Anna Kasparian is anti-Semitic. Not gonna lie, this shit in the Tucker Carlson conversation doesn't look good. I have not talked to Anna in years. Anna is not a big fan of mine. I appreciate her advocacy against Israel. And I think as someone who is doing this kind of sincere advocacy against Israel, when you do stuff like this, you're basically you're basically giving a gift wrapped basket of goods to Zionists. That's number one. And number two, because they love being like, see, told you they're anti-Semitic, see? And also, even if you don't personally consider anti-Semitism to be as significant a version of hatred as like anti-black sentiment or Islamophobia, because there's no like systemic for the reason that there is not any like systemic discrimination associated with anti-Semitism currently in American history, not throughout history, but like currently in contemporary American society. That still doesn't mean that you lean into that shit, because when you lean into that shit, it's unproductive. You all of a sudden are leaning into immaterial, nonsensical bullshit. But they're going to call you an anti-Semite no matter what. Brother, my entire life, I have been called a white supremacist, a misogynist, transphobic, homophobic, a person who's secretly a Republican. Who gives a fuck? You think I give a shit? No, I have my values, okay? And you should have your values. And you should advocate for the things that you think are right, and you should stay away from things that you think are wrong. It's that simple. It's not more complicated than that. It doesn't fucking matter what people say to disparage you. You know what the truth is. And there have been so many people, weak people devoid of a backbone, people without a fucking moral compass, that have been attacked by those they perceived as allies and have completely lost their fucking minds. I don't play that game at all as someone who has eaten that shit over and over and over again. Do you want to know why? Because these are my convictions. Okay, this is my worldview. Why the fuck would I change because someone who I previously thought was an ally of mine, or someone who I still think is an ally of mine, has decided in that moment, for some sincere, confused belief or some insincere, cynical reason, decided to cast me aside as an enemy, as an op? These are my values. This is what I believe in. That's why you look back across the last 13 years of my advocacy and you find consistency there, regardless of what people have said. When I came after Nicki Minaj years ago, people said, you're fucking, you're anti-black, you're a white supremacist. And they said it over and over again. And a lot of people believed it. You know, who gives a shit? Did I stop? Did I go, oh, well, black people don't think I'm cool. They think I'm racist. Well, I'll show them and I'll become racist. Like, that's fucking stupid. I find that a lot of non-Jews' views on Jews is that it pertains to Israel are dependent on how many anti-Zionist Jews they actually know and talk to regularly as a counterbalance. If you don't, you're more likely to veer into anti-Semitism because there's little personal connection preventing that from happening. No, absolutely. That's another major component of this story, which is why I always say the ADL's active counter messaging against anti-Zionist Jews have literally played a formative role in anti-Semitism growing. Every time the ADL comes after someone like myself, which many Nazis fucking despise and will literally say is not a true anti-Israel advocate because I am not an anti-Semite, the ADL packages me with the rest of those fucking Nazis, and to the average person, that looks ridiculous. They're like, okay, well, I've heard this guy fucking defend Jews over and over again, perhaps a little too much to my taste, because they're doing all right in comparison, right? And you're still calling him an anti-Semite, so I guess everyone's a fucking anti-Semite. So I guess the entire term, the application of the term anti-Semite is just simply used in a cynical manner. So I guess anti-Semitism is not real, is the conclusion that a lot of people arrive at. This is precisely the reason why, unfortunately, as I've said over and over again, as I warned over and over again since October 7, that like it's much easier to teach Americans anti-Semitism than it is to teach them principled anti-Zionism. And a lot of Americans are arriving at anti-Zionism through anti-Semitic conspiracies. The good thing here, of course, is that this is not like as an ideological, this is not as rigid of an ideological commitment as one might think, seeing it on the internet. It's more so just like peer pressure, the alluring nature of being able to touch this third rail that previously was considered, impossible to touch, trying to be edgy, all this stuff. Like, I don't think the average 14-year-old that's like, oh, the painting guy was right, is like a sincerely committed neo-Nazi who's like equipped with the ideological backing and is like a genuine fascist. However, unfortunately, it does create a robust organizing ground for people like this. It does create new members for that movement who do become ideologically committed neo-Nazis and shit, But in general, the reason why, I'm having this conversation currently, but like the reason why it also makes me feel a little silly is because like we're at the precipice of fucking destroying a 93 million populated country of Iran at the behest of Israel. And like having this kind of back and forth, like it's good to have this cleanup just so people understand in my community where I stand on shit like this. But also at the same time, I do kind of feel a little silly having this conversation over and over again, especially when you got people like fucking Randy Fine who are just like every Muslim is deserves to be killed. And like nothing really happens to guys like that. And then we have like the 17th round of like, is anti-Semitism a serious, a super serious part of the discourse back and forth over and over again. And then people call me a fucking philo-Semite or a Jewish exceptionalist or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? The reason why I still want to make sure that people understand where I stand on this, however, is that regardless of how in like the tier list of like severe offenses and systemic forms of discrimination, even if like anti-Semitism doesn't reach that same standard of systemic discrimination as like other forms of bigotry do, it's still a fucking bigotry. And if you anchor your worldview around anti-Semitism and the idea that like Jews are actually controlling the American government, you are going to arrive at the wrong fucking conclusion. Okay? A big part of that also abdicates responsibility away from the Americans who are not Jewish, because Jewish people are also American, obviously. But the American non-Jewish leaders in this country are very responsible for this death and destruction campaign and are totally like they're super invested in the same fucking versions of empire that we criticize. I don't think we should I don't think we should just like hyper focus on the Jewish aspect of this. One, because it's just simply untrue, and two, because why the fuck are you letting the rest of Congress get away? It's like most of this country is still run by fucking wasps. Okay, it's ridiculous. Like it's so ridiculous. You hear fucking Mike Huckabee talk about this shit, and you come to the conclusion that like, well, one, he literally has slave mindset. Like he straight up, I think he he cares more about Israel than he does about his own children. Like that, like it's impossible not to arrive at that conclusion. Mike Huckabee is an evangelical Christian Zionist. And Mike Huckabee is more invested in Israel than the average American Jew is, 100%. Like, because he is like a unique figure, right? He is uniquely invested. Like the only other people that have that same fucking mentality about Israel are a handful of like insane, rabbis and whatnot that are Kahanist or Kahanist plus. Like he has this religious zealotry around Israel's domination because he truly believes that it'll trigger the rapture. This is where genuine fascists start. The current generation of nihilistic irony poison Nazis are the ones shooting up schools and joining the GOP staffer class. Grew up on edgy Nazi memes. The fringe right has spread through humor and internet memes for over a decade now. And for those who are not outright committed, it makes them comfortable with Nazi-like candidacy. Youth polling on James Fishback, for instance. Yes. There's also a responsibility on the fucking left flank here, though. Because if you don't have a sincere commitment at the national level to anti-Zionism on the left, then you're going to lose. You're going to lose the anti-Semites. It's that fucking simple. That's why I was always stressing the importance of AOC being a leader of anti-Zionism in this country, because you don't want to get fucking outflanked by Marjorie Taylor Greene on this. Right? It's ridiculous. Anyway, Ben Lorber had a take on it. Like many other MAGA, Carrie Prishon Baller is blending legitimate critique of Israel and Zionism with Christian anti-Judaism and America First anti-Semitism, and she's being met with the same repressive playbook Zionists use against critics on the right and left. It's a toxic feedback loop between Zionists and anti-Semites that only benefits the forces of nationalism, whether in Israel or the U.S. It's easy to spot the anti-Semitism of these MAGA Israel critics. Goyim is not a progressive rallying cry, nor is it any talk of being a slave to a foreign nation. We shouldn't cheer them on uncritically. Like you're placing a lot more emphasis on the language itself by being like, no, I'm doing this as a form of resistance. Like Goy lives matter. You're fucking cringe. You're unimaginably cringe, and either aware of it or unaware of it. But you're being a fucking, you're being a little bit like a neo-Nazi. Okay, calm down. It's just bad. It's just bad look. Bad look. Very cringe. That's precisely the reason why you see all of these fucking people like Sneeko and them use it, okay? I know you love triggering the pro-Israel crowd, okay? Well, guess what? I don't do any of that shit, and I trigger them even more than fucking Sneeko does. So just do what I'm doing. You don't need to do this shit, okay? Do you understand? Trust me. If you want to piss off the pro-Israel crowd, the best possible thing you can do is be a committed anti-Zionist that does not shy away from saying what he truly believes should happen to the state of Israel, or the Zionist entity in particular, while also having firm commitments to fighting against anti-Semitism and every other form of bigotry. Okay? Trust. Think about it. Think about who Jonathan Greenblatt yells about quite a bit, even if they are anti-Semitic. Even if they're maybe subtly anti-Semitic, more subtly anti-Semitic than Nicholas Fuentes or Sneeko or all these other people. Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson knows what buttons not to push when he's talking about Israel. Hasanabi Piker, myself. Literally a lifelong commitment to fighting against all forms of bigotry, including anti-Semitism, and yet my name gets brought up in these conversations. And last but not least, Max fucking Blumenthal, who is Jewish. Okay? So like, if those are your top priorities at the Apartheid Defense League, you're kind of giving the fucking game away. Why have they dropped talking about Nick Fuentes or Candace Owens or Sneeko? Why do they never talk about those people? Because those people are already in the outside group. Those people are not going to be able to convert. Those people are not going to be able to convert Zionist Jews and Zionist Christians into a anti-Zionist commitment. They're not going to be able to do that because there are a lot of people who have already, established their position on this, where they're like, well, I think Israel's dope. I think Israel's awesome. It should exist. And especially if you're Jewish, you're never going to listen to a person like that. You're gonna be like, the fuck? Okay, this guy's clearly anti-Semitic. So anyway, I mean, it's getting to a point where it's like completely out of my hands. Regardless, I try to do my very best, and I don't shy away from doing this cleanup when I feel like it's a necessity. But the reality of the matter is, I'm only one person, and I'm one person that gets fucking attacked non-fucking stop. As a matter of fact, ironically enough, a lot more than a lot of these other people do. So, you know, it's out of my fucking hands. If all of the most powerful forces in American society that are a part of prominent fucking institutions, okay, are constantly saying Israel is for Jews, Jews are for Israel, we love Israel, if you criticize Israel, you're anti-Semitic, over and over again, yeah, people are going to be like, okay, I guess I'm fucking anti-Semitic. I don't give a shit about the Jews, you know? I've already heard enough about, like, you know, how they control Hollywood or the banking system. Okay, I guess I'm anti-Semitic. And that's where we're at, right? That's where we're at. Cat's out of the fucking bag at this point. It's virtually impossible to educate Americans on, like, principled anti-Zionism, principled anti-imperialism. It's almost, here, I'll give you one last analogy on this, and I think you will understand it even a little bit better. Okay? You know what it reminds me of? Liberalism. It reminds me of liberalism safeguarding the most, like, appropriate ways of being progressive and constantly casting aside any kind of socialist commentary as, like, unacceptable. Okay? Because liberals are anti-communist, liberals are anti-socialist, right? And guess what happens in that process? People find themselves in the throes of fucking fascism. Because if they want to break the system and they've never even encountered a communist version of events, or they've never even encountered, like, socialism as an alternative, or they've already been negatively primed against socialism, and slowly but surely, if the more acceptable route that is, like, anti-establishment is fucking fascist or Nazi or super far right, they move into that direction. Okay? And the same goes for anti-Zionism versus anti-Semitism. Zionists have made it impossible to do anti-Zionist commentary for years and years and years, and therefore the most, like, rigorous anti-Israel voices happen to be anti-Semites. And that's why a lot of people found themselves in the throes of anti-Semitism. If you shut off different options, different options in the discourse, and you don't allow it to thrive because you're too worried that it might be captivating and it might actually present a real threat down the line to the established order, well, you've basically created an environment where you did it to yourself, and now the only viable outlet for a lot of Americans is a fascist one. The only viable outlet for a lot of Americans to speak in anti-Israel terms is a Nazi one, is an anti-Semitic one. You know? That's all I got.
Liberal. Happy fun, la la la.
I am a socialist. I live in a crumbling house among piles of literal trash. If someone's saying to you that you're a fake socialist because of the money, tell them that they can shut the fuck up. It doesn't matter. Thank you, chatter. Hopefully the house is no longer crumbling. Okay. Are there any other creators like you that explain the difference between this stuff and try to get common people to understand what's happening in a genuine way that comes from the heart? Yeah, I'm sure. Are you following Anthropic versus Pentagon? I am. All right, we're gonna get started in Londonistan, England, lads. Greens win Gordon and Denton by-election, dealing blow to Keir Starmer. Bro, you have retrained your audience so well, it's wild. What do you mean? About what? About loving the soundboard? Yeah.
Of the evening. Well, yes, it's an absolutely cataclysmic result.
Cataclysmic. Hasanabi heads the parasocialists in the fucking UK are rising up, lads. Rising the fuck up, lads. Fucking hell.
Effectively, they've lost something like half of their support from the last general election. Less than 2 years ago, of course, have switched across to the Green Party, who've won by an absolutely stonking margin. Quite the victory lap we heard there from Hannah Spencer earlier. And I think what was particularly interesting is that the issues that she was highlighting in her speech that she believes are the reasons that people have decided to switch to the Greens were about the cost of living, were about about the importance of investing in the NHS and the importance of getting out there and listening to people within the constituency, which are all issues, of course, we've heard Labour time and time again insisting are their key priorities in government, and clearly that message isn't getting through. Now, reform came in second, of course, and for them, they also were claiming substantial support. They clearly gained a lot of people switching across from the Tories who performed so very badly that they lost their deposit in terms of the number of votes that they won. But clearly, despite the rhetoric beforehand, reform didn't have enough support to win at all. The Greens edging far ahead of everyone else. But I think what it really shows in our politics is just how much the system has splintered. For so long we've had this kind of two-party focused system, whereas actually now it's the parties on the left and on the right who are really outflanking both Labour and the Conservatives in terms of popular support. And I think another piece of another stat which is quite good evidence for this, which is quite interesting, is that this is the 11th by-election in a row which has been lost by an incumbent government, which I think really does point.
Oh, this kind of thing. This makes me fucking so excited. Okay? This gets me fucking hype, bro. God damn. The Labour Party, the fucking assholes at the Labour Party, one, they crushed the Jeremy Corbyn momentum. They deliberately crushed it internally. They crushed it with the elite Jeffrey Epstein affiliated pedophiles, as a matter of fact. They deliberately did it. They destroyed the man. He still came back in Islington, Arlington North, okay? They thought they would be able to destroy him there. He ran as an independent. He still fucking won, okay? And the Labour Party decided, oh, we're the new Labour. We're the right-wing Labour. We're the Blairites, okay? We're light Tories. Keir Starmer was begging for it. Let's take a look.
If you don't like the changes that we've made, I say the door is open and you can leave.
Oh no, Keir Starmer, don't fucking do it, lad. You mad lad, you. Don't fucking say it, because they will. They will. They'll give you a proper ass kick on a goodbye, lad. Fucking hell. Keir Starmer, don't fucking do it, lad. Let's run it back. Let's run it back.
If you don't like the changes that we've made, I say the door is open and you can leave.
Ooh! Ooh! Sheesh! Yeah, so that's precisely what happened. People were like, bet. Fuck you. Why do you never talk about your party, the largest socialist party in the UK? Because it's embarrassing. Okay? You think I wouldn't be a fucking major fucking advocate for your party? Are you stupid? I like Zara Sultana. I like Corbyn. I like I like having a principled socialist party. I don't know if you noticed it, but Corbyn himself was saying like that they're aligned with the Greens. Everything that is wrong with your party, which again, from the name itself, everything that's wrong with your party is everything that I yell about on a fucking daily basis on the Hasanabi broadcast, bro. That's why I don't talk about it, because it hurts my heart. It hurts my fucking soul to see the organizational fuck up that is this party that was supposed to be what the Greens are doing right now. That's it. That's it. Like, your party's polling is disastrous. It's fucking disastrous, dude. And there's a reason for it. Yeah, statement on Gorton Denton by-election. Huge congratulations to Hannah Spencer on an inspiring and well-deserved victory. Against the poisonous rhetoric of reform and the cynical do-nothing politics of labor, Hannah showed that hope for a different world can win. Moving forward, your party will work together with the Greens as friends and allies, not opponents, which makes sense because, like, Corbyn doesn't, for me, I feel like he doesn't give a shit whether he's at your party or not. Okay? And I never really covered it, and I think that's part of the reason why a lot of people are just like oblivious to what happened there. But there was a lot of there were a lot of fuck ups in their development, and it was supposed to be this beautiful thing. It was supposed to be this actual like new party that comes in and sweeps away at the base of labor with a prominent labor figure like Corbyn and other former labor figures that were cast aside from the party as the Labor Party swapped back to being a right-wing party. It was always somewhat of a right-wing party, but like, you know, the party that it became under the helmsmanship of Kid Starver. And it was a fuck up. It was a spectacular failure. They literally had tremendous fucking infighting, and they literally aired their dirty laundry every step of the fucking way. They could not even get off the ground before they imploded, man. It's ridiculous. And I say this as someone who is a obvious major Corbyn head. I'm a huge fan of Corbyn. I think he's one of the most sincere people in politics in general. He's one of my favorite politicians. I have multiple fucking t-shirts with his goddamn face on it. Okay. I rode hard for Corbyn, especially when everyone was like, oh, he's anti-Semitic. He's anti-Semitic. And I fucking did not even give that any ground whatsoever. Zach Polanski did at the time. He has obviously evolved in his views, and I hope he has identified what caused him to feel that way and won't get duped in the future. But the reality of the matter is, like, I was there. I was there the entire fucking way. I was there the whole way with Corbyn. So don't come to me and be like, whoa, why don't you like fuck with why don't you fuck with your party? And I like Zara Sultana too. But it's ridiculous. They had no fucking messaging discipline whatsoever. They had no messaging discipline whatsoever. They were so disorganized. There was so much infighting taking place, and it happened in fucking real time. And all these people that were so excited about it literally felt like they left with a bad taste in their mouths. I'm not even attacking your party in general. Like, I wish, I want it to be good. I want it to be fucking good. I wanted it to be serious. Okay? Also, the name is ridiculous, but it doesn't matter. Stop covering their L's, please. Please stop covering your party. It's hurting me. I'm still heartbroken over the story. This is why I never talked about it, by the way. But chatter was like, why don't you support the only socialist party in the country? So I'm explaining to you the reason why, because it was fucking embarrassing. And I didn't want to like attack these people or criticize these people who I actually admire. Okay. That's why I didn't cover it, because it hurts. It hurts to acknowledge it. But if you ask me what it is, this is it. Anyway, but Greens very clearly filled that fucking void. They already had a little bit of motion in the past elections, and they were growing, right? They had the momentum on their side. And honestly, Zach Polanski is a fucking awesome communicator. Let's be real. He's a podcaster, which in normal circumstances you would consider to be an L, but he's a great communicator. Okay? They're great. They have tremendous messaging discipline. They're very good on a lot of issues. They don't compromise on their fucking values. They go in and they say, this is what we're about. And you need that. Zara Sultana absolutely frame mogs the high cortisol beta Jimmy Corbyn. I'm sorry, but it's facts. Okay, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Anyway, it's just like, I don't care who is advancing the cause, okay? I don't give a shit what party their affiliation is. If they are centering the working class and their needs, and they're there to fucking defend against fascism, if they're anti-fascist, I'll ride with them, okay? I'm agnostic on this stuff. Do I wish that there was a disciplined Marxist-Leninist traditioned socialist party in the fucking country? Absolutely. That would be fantastic, but they don't have it. So what are you supposed to do? Or the ones that like kind of exist are 8 fucking people, and their average age is like 87. Okay? Shut up. Anyway, long gone are the Greens of the past anyway. The UK Green Party is totally different. Okay? You're talking about a person who's a plumber, a socialist, anti-racist, champion of the working class. Hannah Spencer's victory speech was a banger. We are sick of hard work making other people rich. Massive blow to Starmer's genocidal Labour Party. This was an anti-Zionist, a principled anti-Zionist vote. Okay? Your party is the British reinvention of DSA. Sultana and Corbyn's feud has been very emblematic of the left-right feud in DSA. It's not bad that they're struggling this out. A line has now been set, and they can get to work as a socialist party now, hopefully. Dude, I don't care. I can't fucking stand it, okay? You're going to have some struggles. There's going to be ideological fissures. There's going to be a lot of ideological problems internally when you're trying to build a fucking working class movement. There are a million different traditions, and leftists love fucking arguing over them endlessly. We should have dealt with that 100 years ago. Shut the fuck up and just do it, okay? Get under the broadest base of anti-capitalism you possibly fucking can and shut the fuck up and play ball. It's ridiculous. Okay? It's ridiculous. I can't fucking stand it. I don't know why there's something in my brain that cannot comprehend. Like, I work with everybody. And people try to yell at me all the time in my chat. They go, whoa, you're talking to Obama's national security advisor, Ben Rhodes. How dare you? I guess you're an imperialist dog. And it's like, shut the fuck up, okay? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You have to work with people. You have to talk to people. You have to fucking hear where they're coming from, and you have to convince them about your values. If you don't fucking do that, you're not going to win shit. Shut up. There is this idiotic tendency on the left of being the most vicious person. Like, oh, if we're just doing purity spiral after purity spiral until our movement is literally stripped to the goddamn bone and there's like 8 people remaining, that's when we'll actually win. No, you won't. You'll stay on the corner and you'll be ritualistically humiliated over and over again, and you will never win power for the working class. You will never actually achieve socialism. You will never organize, okay? Stop it. Be fucking normal. Weird. Marxist-Leninists and Trot organizations are generally not effective, but neoliberals will grind us under heel, and we need to more effectively counter that in electoralist efforts. Yes. Yes. It's the same people who write off Zoran. Yeah, some of the things Mamdani does that left people hate are precisely what allow him to do things like this. Are their trade-offs worth it? That's a debate worth having, but many people don't seem interested in it. Are they? Can he exact concessions from Trump because he continues to employ Jessica Tisch, or because Trump's pathological obsession with people he thinks are handsome? Once again, I think we need to be less critical of people who are ideologically closest to us while still obviously holding their feet to the fire. And there's a delicate balance you need to strike in those moments. And I think some people go to the side of adoration and they just refuse to criticize people like Zoran at all. And then there are others who are unimaginably critical, like they're the people that are like, Zoran is a social fascist. Zoran is a social fascist and an ultra-Zionist that must be assassinated. It's like, okay, well, you're a fucking psychopath, okay? Like, this is what we got. You have to work with what you have. It's that simple. Anyway, secret agent Starmer destroying the party from the inside. It's difficult because he is so odious and nasty, but we must now hope Starmer stays as long as possible. He's quite literally voter repellent, and he's permanently dismantling the awful Labor Party the longer he stays, which is necessary historical task. Yes, for many, many years, I would have abso-fucking-lutely said, this is the wrong approach. You got to fix the Labor Party from within. But now that there are alternatives out there with viability, fucking kill it. Okay? Fucking kill it. Kill it. The good ones will come to whichever fucking party you're at. When you build the movement, they will come. Okay? It's over. Let him stay. I hope he fucking stays in power for as long as he can. Because, guess what? There's a secret weapon that's not so secret out there. There are going to be more elections. And when that election time comes around, when Starmer is still leading the fucking party, you can hang the Mendelsohn case around his fucking neck like a goddamn anchor and destroy what remains of the hope that exists within the fucking Labor Party. Okay? There are more elections coming up in the month of May. And when that happens, and if Starmer is still seen as the leader of the party, which a lot of the people I think within the Labor Party are looking at the situation and thinking, ooh, maybe I can take over because he is a unprecedentedly unpopular leader, with the exception of Liz Truss. Liz Truss is the only other prime minister who has been as unpopular as Keir Starmer, and she is like a record breaker, right? Like, we know she was so bad that like her reign could not outlive a fucking cabbage, a head of cabbage, right? So let him stay in charge And then when the moment is most opportune, you hang the fucking Mendelssohn situation around his goddamn neck. You wrap that anchor around him and you let him fucking sink the entire party. Okay?
We were elected into government.
This was Starmer's first interview post by-election. This man is completely delusional. Labor is truly in a death spiral. Good. Burn it with fucking fire.
To change millions of lives for the better. That's why we've already passed the Renters' Rights Act. Better rights for renters that haven't been there for a generation. That's why we've passed the Employment Rights Act to give working people better rights at work. That's why we've invested in the NHS to bring our waiting list down. That's why we're giving a pay rise to the lowest paid in our society and making sure that people have the opportunities for them and their families. It is very easy for other parties to identify the grievance. That's the easy bit. The hard yards is providing the solution and turning the country around to improve the lives of millions of people. That is the mission. That is what we had a mandate to do, and that's what I'm laser focused on.
Okay, that doesn't sound like anything will change. Can you explain, because I genuinely don't understand it, why you ran such a bizarre campaign in Gordon and Denton? The whole by-election was about Labour beating Reform, but you were beaten by the Greens. Was it all just too clever by half, or were you just a bit squeamish about taking on another progressive left-wing party?
The entire Labour Party, the entire movement came together to fight a positive campaign about bringing our communities and our country together. And we were fighting two parties, Reform on the right, with their politics of hatred and division, the Greens on the left.
Bro, shut this shit down. I literally cannot deal with this shit. No. Come on, man. This is a moment of glory. Sit in it. Bask in it. You know? Let your nuts hang. Let them breathe a little bit. Let the boys breathe. Are you kidding me? It's fucking, I mean, it's disastrous, but it's a disaster of his own making. And I'll be honest, you know me, maybe I'm a little too restrained as opposed to some of my other friends in this movement that will constantly talk about agitating for a third party. I'm not Mr. Third Party by any means, especially given the history of labor. I always, if you were to ask me 2 years ago, if you were to ask me a year ago, do you think there's viability in like restoring labor into a true left flank party, a true working class party? I would have said abso-fucking-lutely. But I've also told you, if you build it, I will come. And they're fucking building it. Okay? In the UK, they have a parliamentary system, so it's a little bit different, even if there is like, the parliamentary system designs coalitions that are identical to the duopoly that we have here in the United States of America. Obviously, this gives a lot more room for third parties coming in and actually fucking rising into power. Don't have that in the United States of America. The system is a little bit different, but this is fantastic. This is unimaginably exciting. David Graeber predicted this, by the way, in 2020 before he passed. David Graeber made a warning about Keir Starmer in 2020. They did not listen. The Labour Party under Starmer will abandon its core idealism and principles, and it won't even gain a tactical advantage. It will be a party which gives nobody a reason to vote for it, and nobody will, in fact, vote for it. I mean, I've said this as well. Shouts out to David Graeber. Rest in power. But that's it. That's it. You could have fucking seen this coming from a mile away. Many of you yelled at me. You were like, Hassan, why can't we be excited? Why can't we be excited about the Labour Party? Well, now there's plenty of fucking room for excitement in the Labour Party and its demise.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the queen, the fight for the gospel alive. We are Charlie Kirk. It's good.
Okay, that's too much.
With their politics of getting out of NATO in the middle of the conflict with Ukraine, of legalizing all drugs, including heroin and crack.
Keep crying, bozo! Keep crying, bitch! Kid starver, don't you got kids to starve? Hey, kid starver, why don't you go prosecute more fucking Palestine Action protesters, bitch? Fuck you. Dude, Dude, oh, the immediate formation of a left flank party viability automatically causes the fucking center right neoliberals to instantly become reactionary monsters. Oh, they want to legalize all drugs. Oh, I do declare, sir. Oh, do you want heroin addicts all over the streets? Is that what you would like? That's what you will get with the Green Party. Fuck you. Up yours, Keith Starver. Fucking hell. Fucking hell.
Liberal. Liberal, 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 liberal. Happy fun, la la la. Human smuggling, fentanyl deaths. Forced government.
Anyway.
It is now contrary together. And we were fighting two parties, reform on the right with their politics of hatred and division, the Greens on the left with their politics of getting out of NATO in the middle of the conflict with Ukraine.
No! Getting out of NATO in the middle of conflict with Russia. No!
Legalizing all drugs, including
Legalizing
heroin
all drugs.
and crack cocaine to give to adults. They are the extremes in politics. They can identify the grievances. It's only Labour that can unite the country and communities. And only Labour that's rolling up its...
Bitch, you can't even unite your base. You can't unite shit, okay? The only thing you're uniting is Jeffrey Epstein and their fucking besties. That's what you're uniting. Oh, you're uniting everybody and hating you too. That's another one. Oh, God.
sleeves and getting on the hard yards, which is actually how do we turn this around, providing the solutions. That's what we're focused on.
Two final questions. Were you wrong to block Andy Burnham? Is there any bit of you that regrets that decision?
We had an excellent candidate in this by-election, and every single person who went campaigning. And I thank the candidate, and I thank every single person who went campaigning.
Dude, this Sky News journalist would be the hero of the night if he turned around and said, "What's the candidate's name?"
Campaigning for their positivity, and that we had an excellent candidate.
If he just turned around and said, what's your candidate's name? Because he does not know. Okay? He does not know. That's why I'm saying we have an excellent candidate. We have an excellent candidate. And the candidate, whose gender I cannot recall at this moment, was excellent.
Regrets that decision.
We had an excellent candidate in this by-election, and every single person who went campaigning. And I thank the candidate, and I thank every single person who went campaigning for their positivity, and that we had an excellent candidate. Absolutely.
The Democrats should be so excited. Looking at this, the Democrats should be so stoked that Zohran Mamdani is a Democrat, AOC is a Democrat, Bernie caucuses with the Democrats, and is like trying to build a Bernie-crat wing within the Democratic Party. They should be so stoked. They should be literally begging. They should be begging on their fucking hands and knees, going to the left flank candidates and being like, can we please help you? How can we help you? How? What can we do for you today? That's what they should be doing, except they are not. And the reason why they are not is because they're exactly like this fucking dickhead, okay? Chuck Schumer and Keir Starmer are basically the same fucking guy, okay? Their attitude is the same. Their worldview is the same. They are unironically oblivious to what the fuck is going on in the real world and how angry and resentful average working class people are to the duopoly and to specifically the establishment Democrats. The only momentum is not on the Abigail Spanberger side of the fucking party. The only real populist momentum is on the side of people like Zohran Mamdani, okay? They will do everything they can. They will work with AIPAC. They will work with Palantir. They will flood the fucking primaries to ensure that their shitty business as usual establishment candidates still maintain control over the party because they're fearful that if they lose out, if they lose the influence within the ranks of the party to the likes of Zohran Mamdani, all of a sudden, their donors are going to get really fucking mad. All of a sudden, they're not going to have those seats anymore. Okay? They need to step the fuck out of the way.
Have an interim Prime Minister at the moment. How long that interim is will be up to the Parliamentary Labour Party. He will not be here for very long. He does not deserve to be here much longer. But
MP, bro. Labour MP Clive Lewis. That's one of his MPs, bro.
But it's for other people in the PLP, not just myself, to decide when that is. At the moment, if it went tomorrow, the only person I could see benefiting would be the Secretary of State for Health, Wes Streeting. And frankly, that would be more of the same. He's an acolyte of Peter Mandelson. There is no point electing Wes Streeting as our leader if that were to take place, because it would be more of the same. We need a radical reset, fundamental change, or we will have a reform government. And I'm afraid my colleagues and the rest of the party need to understand that. What I think has enabled this to happen is the fact that we have basically systemically burned our base. We've chased after mythical voters.
Sound familiar? One senior Labour Party member described the resignation of Labour councillors in response to the party's position on Gaza as shaking off the fleas. This approach has broadly characterized Labour's approach to the dissenting views it has attributed en masse to a cranky left. But it seems increasingly risky when a high-octane political event galvanizes people across a demographic profile that is too large to be so easily dismissed. Suleika, another voter lost to Labour in the past 2 weeks, tells me of an atmosphere in her local area in Hackney where people are identifying with the Palestine issue through different intersections as it draws in Greens, feminists, and a broader liberal coalition. Meanwhile, polling reveals a political establishment dramatically at odds with the country as a whole, in which 76% are in support of a ceasefire. That's a lot of fucking fleas. It's hard. It's hard not to fucking, it's hard to just watch your fucking decade-long theory in action destroy this major plank, this political institution that has been the only hope for the working class for years and years. Watch that fucking movement kill itself in real time to appeal to a mythical moderate fucking voter that does not exist in the exact same ways that the fucking Democratic Party has been doing for years and years and years. It's hard. It's hard not to look at the situation and go, fuck you. You fucking did this to yourself. You literally aligned with elite pedophiles specifically to defend Israel over and over again, specifically to defend the interests of capital over and over again. You built this house of shit. Now live in it, dude. Now fucking live in it. Jesus Christ. I mean, look, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is just the fucking beginning. Okay. I'll be honest with you, but you don't have an idea about the realities of British politics. My favorite, give it to me. This is exactly what I kept hearing. This is exactly what I kept hearing from all the fucking Labour defenders after Keir Starmer's predictable victory. Oh, give it to me. Come on. Go ahead. Right now, in this moment, coming to my fucking broadcast and telling me I was wrong. Excellent. Multiple chef's kisses. Please go ahead. Go ahead. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say you don't understand. The average British gammon fucking despises immigrants, and there's no way out of this other than a massive purge of people who are considered non-white in the country, right? We have to be more like the EDL to win elections, right? That's what you're going to tell me, right? We got to defend England. You don't understand, bruv. I'm not racist personally, but there's many racists that we need to fucking win votes with. Many of the Labour strongholds have lost to reform for a fucking reason. And it's not because they've abandoned the working class. They've abandoned the fucking social safety nets. And they've become not even just a fucking Blairite version of the party, but a Thatcherite version of the fucking party in the fucking conservative in the Labour movement. But the only way to fucking win them back is by saying we're going to be the ones who fucking purge the migrants. We're going to be the ones who burn the fucking boats, yeah? Defend England! Defend England! I'm not a Labour defender, but there's certainly a large number of moderate UK voters who stand in the centre. It's not as black and white. Fuck you! Oh! Yeah? Why are the Lib Dems not fucking cleaning up? Yeah, I mean, of course you're Scottish. Of course. The cops of the British Empire. Classic. Of course, that's a Scottish chatter. Epigenetic memory is unlocked all of a sudden. He's like, whoa, I've got to defend the fucking British Empire. Fucking cop, dude. Yeah? If everyone is demanding a moderate approach to politics, why the fuck are the Lib Dems not winning every election? Every previous election, if they're demanding a moderate and tolerant approach to the immigration issue, the Hillary Clintonian approach, where it's like, we'll actually be the ones who are deporting the migrants, please vote for us. Why the fuck is Labor losing? They're doing just that. How the fuck did they lose to a party run by a gay Jewish podcaster? How did that happen? Perhaps it's because of what he's saying. How'd that happen? And it's fucking brilliant because they try so goddamn hard to hit him with the, oh, you're anti-Semitic and you're anti-Semitic. Zach Polanski is Jewish, okay? Can't get him on that. Now what? Now what do you got in the tool belt? Oh, he's too radical. Well, seems like people like that. It's so funny that people are just like still doing this thing in the aftermath of a clear-cut, resounding defeat for moving to the mythical moderate center. Like that lost. Last night that lost. You're still over here being like, no, my good sir, you don't understand. I do declare what the people want is reasonable, moderate politics. It's just that true neoliberalism hasn't been tried, my good sir. We must not just be Blairites in the Labour Party. We must be now the Conservative Party. We must become the Tories under Thatcher. This is the only way to win. True neoliberalism hasn't been tried, my good sir. Yes, we will do it ourselves. Great, dude. Keep hemorrhaging. Keep hemorrhaging your fucking constituencies. Keep hemorrhaging your base. You destroyed the party. I literally vote Lib Dem. Look up Orkney constituency. I'm not defending anyone, but rather just pointing out the reality of UK politics. Hey, notice how you fucking told me that I don't know enough about fucking British politics or know nothing about British politics, and I clocked who you fucking vote for? How'd that happen if I'm so oblivious? How'd that happen? I'm an American. I'm a dumb American Yankee. How the fuck could I smell the pivot to the center narratives coming from your Lib Dem ass? Barely sentient, the barely existing party. Oh, you don't understand. There's real momentum in the moderate side of things. And I will tell you why there's real momentum. If you noticed, the Lib Dems actually gained votes in this last election cycle. It shows that there's real movement in the center. I know he's Scottish. I can't do the Scottish accent that well, so I'm just going to keep using the fucking posh British accent. You can't come in here and tell me that the pivot to the center actually works right after it was demonstrably a fucking failure. Okay, that's it. You can't do it. Look, listen to the fucking Labour MPs. They're freaking out.
Who have no interest in voting Labour. We've alienated a vast swathe of that constituency on issues from Gaza through to immigration and asylum. The whole tone of this government is one that many people, and I heard it on the doorstep, you're not a Labour Party that I recognise. What happened to you? Look, the Labour Party changes, the Labour Party adapts, but it has a core philosophy, which is you want to improve people's lives and you want to have a politics which is inclusive. It doesn't make a difference if your banners say that. Your actual actions, your policies, your behaviour and how you come across to the public is what's important. And frankly, under Keir Starmer and the people around him, we have come across sounding like a pound shop reform.
Every single one of these guys rat fuck Corbyn too, by the way. So they can suck me. Anyway. Their new excuse, Melbourne. Oh, this was awesome too. Yeah, these guys literally do not understand how solidarity works at all. They cannot comprehend it because they've never done it, right? They don't understand that if you come out and you fucking say, Clive Lewis, he's a leftist. I thought Clive Lewis also was a part of the rat fucking operation. Maybe not as like aggressive as like some of these other people because he's on the left flank of Labour, but regardless, he's not a neoliberal, but guys, okay. From what I understand, there are within the Labor Party, there are different forces. Okay, some are actually, some are actually like real ass socialists, but still, some are actually real socialists. But they do actually, they did also participate in like defanging Corbyn, or never really defended him. There's the minor, like within the MPs, there's like a small contingency of like Corbynites. They were obviously all cast aside pretty much. And now the party is fully back in the hands of the Blairite wing. Some of that wing is pro defense contracts, like pro military industrial complex, but from the perspective of labor, and they're still very much leftists, but they're what Stalin would call social fascists. Okay. And then there's also the neoliberal contingency, which is the broadest base. Not the broadest base, but like the broadest MP base within the party structure, which are just like straightforward careerist neoliberals. Okay? That's the Labor Friends of Israel contingency. Okay? Those guys are just straight up, they're monsters. They're straight up fucking monsters. Keep the leftist revolution going. Greens, your ancestors are finally smiling upon the aisles. Yeah, green actually is the new color, is the color of Islam. Okay, that's what the greens actually represent. No more eco-capitalist greens. We are now using the Islamogoshism. That is the new variant of green. Inshallah, woke Sharia is upon us. Okay. The Economist reading like a leftist pamphlet here. Hannah Spencer is very impressive. The Greens gathered a coalition of young progressives, working class former labor voters, and Muslims who make up over a quarter of Gorton and Denton's residents. Ms. Spencer knitted these disparate groups together with panache. The plumber turned MP completed a certificate in plastering in the final weeks of the campaign. I was determined to finish my course because I was like, that's what we do here. From afar, her style might seem twee, but it won the adoration of green activists who descended onto the constituency and the admiration of many voters. Miss Spencer seems just as comfortable speaking to a rally as fixing pipes or sharing iftar, making her the perfect symbol of the Green Party's new, punchier approach under Zach Belansky, which emphasizes social justice as much as environmentalism. I've lived in this area, I work in this area, and I see that people are just getting left behind, says Miss Spencer. For the longest time, I would say in many European capitals, the Greens have been seen as like an eco-capitalist party, sometimes maybe teetering on the edge of eco-socialism, but like they've never been like a, from my assessment, they've never been like a robust alternative, like a serious alternative. Zach Polanski actually dramatically restructured the messaging of the party, and I give him a lot of credit for that. Okay? I give him a lot of credit for that. This is a very different Green Party, I think. This is a very, very different Green Party. No, Greens in Europe have been basically eco-fascist. UK Greens are the first in Europe to go the other way. Yeah, I'm, broad ideology ranging from eco-liberalism, eco-capitalism to eco-fascism. How can you be, wait, what is this? They're definitely better than the Canada Greens. From what I understand, the Canadian Greens are also changing a little bit as well. They're also restructuring as well, for the record. And Canada obviously has an alternative there with the NDP too. And NDP has his own internal drama and his own internal restructuring that's happening right now. There's like the whole, is it going to be Avi Lewis? Is it going to be someone else? But didn't Sam Cedar say something weird about Polanski? Not Zach Polanski, Roman Polanski. He made a joke about Roman Polanski and how people were referencing his like work when talking about, instead of talking about his pedophilia. What is this? Sitting backwards in a chair. You know, there was another Green Party the leader that delivered for ordinary citizens and rejected both liberalism and conservatism.
Of all of Africa's many charismatic post-colonial leaders, there is perhaps no one quite as mysterious as the late Muammar Gaddafi. The self-proclaimed brother leader who led the North African state of Libya from his entry into power in a bloodless coup in 1969 until his shocking death in 2011.
It's true. He wrote a whole book, a green one. At least until very recently, Canadian Greens were just a cult of cranks around one MP. I would be genuinely surprised if it changed for the better, but one can hope. I think so. At least I feel like there's changes happening all around us. Like I said, or not I said, like Gramsci said, The old world is dying, and a new world struggles to be born from its ashes. Now is the time for monsters, but also now is the time for organizing. Okay. And I think a lot of people are taking advantage. They're finally seizing the moment. They're finally seizing the opportunity. And they're doing their very best. I will try to do my very best, as should you, to make sure that this necessary change happens both in this country and in every country that you live in. Okay. Now is the time of monsters. Sorry. For fuck's sake, you always butcher it. Shut up. Shut up.
During all this, I also qualified as a plasterer because even in chaos, even under pressure, I get things done. I am no different to every single person here in this constituency. I work hard. That is what we do. Except things have changed a lot over the last few decades because working hard used to get you something. It got you a house, a nice life, holidays. It got you somewhere. But now, working hard, what does that get you? Because talk to anyone here and they will tell you. The people who work hard but can't put food on the table, can't get their kids' school uniforms, can't put their heating on, can't live off the pension, they work.
See how she said, I work hard and not I'm stupid and can't read? Yeah, it's weird. She should have tried being like, I'm a dummy. I don't know how to read. I'm illiterate. Just like you, the stupids. Vote for me, which is a vote for the stupids. You know, just like Gavin Newsom. Confusing why she's not doing that and doing this instead, which seems to be a much better, a much more unifying message. Odd.
Worked hard to save for, can't even begin to dream about ever having a holiday, ever. Because life has changed. Instead of working for a nice life, we're working to line the pockets of billionaires. We are being bled dry. And I don't think it's extreme or radical to think working hard should get you a nice life.
Ooh!
And I don't think that if you're not able to work, that you should still have a nice life. I think that absolutely everybody should get a nice life. And clearly, I'm not the only person who thinks that, because I've made clear my position.
I don't understand why is she not talking about the moderate mythical centrist voter that she clearly captivated with her modical mythical centrist approach. Why is she not talking about burning the boats? I don't get it. When it's obviously an incredibly important plank in her campaign, right? Like when she says we're going to kill the migrants, like we're going to arm the working class of England, the Gammons, the small business owners, with weapons, with the blunderbuss, so they can shoot directly at the boats coming over. It's just odd. It's odd that she doesn't center the true interest of the working class, which is a principled defense of the Zionist entity. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Why has she not talked about capping welfare for people who want to have more children, for example? It's just like reasonable austerity that is an absolute necessity. Where is all of that in her message? Why is she winning by centering the working class? That creates surplus labor value for the capital owners. Why is she doing this? I'm scared.
And my commitment to working class communities, the community that I am from. People in their thousands told me on the doorsteps and at the ballot box that what we are sick of is being let down and looked down on, that we are sick of our hard work making other people rich. I lived in this constituency at one of the most difficult and...
Our hard work making other people rich, by the way, is a perfectly sanitized way to talk class politics in a way that people can comprehend, in a way that people can understand. What she's saying there is literally the exploitation that exists within capitalism. What she is talking about directly is the extraction of surplus labor value. She doesn't use those terms. She uses language that is palatable, language that is appealing to the working class, that is a uniting language and the perfect way to approach the subject matter. Okay.
Challenging periods of my life. I saw how strong the community was at holding things together. But I saw how much harder life is when the things around you are broken. The litter, the fly tipping, the dirty air. And when I moved, it became even clearer. And this is why I am fighting for the community that I lived in and that I still work in. Because I absolutely refuse to accept that we should
You just don't get it? She's being sectarian? What?
ever have to move and leave our communities for good schools, a thriving high street and clean air. And I will not accept a society where having more money gets you a longer life expectancy. And so when it came to fighting for people here to stand in this election, well, how could I not fight? Because here, this is what we do. We fight for each other in this very diverse...
Oh, that's what the Reform... Oh, that's a joke. Reform UK shitheads are accusing Greens of sectarianism. Oh, keep coping, you fucking racist dullards. Oh, it's so awesome. Oh, God, it feels so fucking good to see all of the most cancerous forces lose and eat shit and fucking cry as they piss their diapers, dude. This is also one of the other additional benefits of having like an actual true left flank candidate winning in elections, because then every single nuisance, every single cancerous entity in British politics and all around the world, really, all around the Western liberal capitalist nations, just start crying. Oh.
Diverse constituency where our struggles might
They're accusing Green. I've heard about this. Yeah, they're accusing Green voters of family voting, referencing Muslim families.
not always be the same, but where we know how hard life can be and we stick together. Whatever our beliefs, our backgrounds, our colour or our level of education, we stick up for each other. And to those who voted for me, I know that earning your trust starts now. One vote on one night is not something I will take for granted or assume will happen again. I will earn your trust. And to those who didn't vote for me, I will always work hard for you, and I will always be honest, and I will always be decent. To our Muslim communities who this week suffered an attempted attack during Ramadan, whilst I was being welcomed by women at a mosque in Longsight, someone just down the road walked into a mosque carrying an axe. And whilst we were gathered and eating together, an act of terror could easily have taken place. And I can't and won't accept this victory tonight without calling out the politicians and divisive figures who constantly scapegoat and blame our communities for all the problems in society. My Muslim friends and neighbours are just like me, human. And of course, to our white working class communities, the background that I have become so proud to be from, we know how it feels to be looked down on, maybe because we didn't do well at school, maybe because we do dirty manual jobs, because we are shut out of places we should be in. To people here in Gorton and Denton who feel left behind and isolated, I see you and I will fight for you. Because whilst our communities may sometimes be labelled in different ways, the thing everyone seems to have underestimated here, especially over the last few weeks, is how similar we all actually are. How we have common ground, how we get along, how we stand up for each other. The cracks that were starting to show can be healed, and I believe that it is through offering people hope and a chance to do things differently and do things better. Now, to my customers, I'm sorry, but I think I might have to cancel the work that you had booked in because I'm heading to Parliament. And when I get there, I will...
She's giving Gen Z Vivienne Westwood a new look and sounds so joyful every time she speaks. I mean, don't get caught up in the appeals or caught up in like aesthetic appeals. Sorry. She's great. This is a perfect speech. And it captures the very essence of everything that we fight for here. It's fucking awesome.
We'll make space for everyone doing jobs like mine. We will finally get a seat at the table.
Why has she not talked about how illiterate she is and how we need to drop pronouns and be, and we need to stop. We need to do away with this nonsense, like, you know, defending trans people and stuff like that. Like, it was just bullshit. I thought England was an island filled to the brim with TERFs. How could anybody win any election whatsoever without issuing concessions to the unlimited amount of transphobia. It just doesn't make sense. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it at all. It's worth remembering that this was the result in Gordon-Denton 19 months ago. In 2019, the notional result for the Green Party in this seat was only 2.5%. If the Greens win, and even if they come close, it represents an astonishing shift that could be replicated in loads of seats. Well, they did. They did. Who's the Nick Shirley of the UK? Tommy Robinson, Yaxley Lennon, who is somehow just as stupid as Nick Shirley and just as compromised by the exact same forces and the same exact countries, as a matter of fact, like Israel. Yeah. Mr. England first. We must defend England. Oi, oi. We got to defend England, which is why we got to talk about fucking... I need to defend England, which is why I'm an agent of Israel now. And America.
And to Layla, the little girl who I had the pleasure of meeting and holding this week. I promised you I would try and improve the world that you are growing up in. I told you that I am not perfect, but that I always try my best. I always try and do the right thing. Now, something exciting is definitely happening. And I invite you all to be part of it. Come and join the Green Party so that we can spread hope and win everywhere across the country. Our strength will grow as more and more of us come together. We have shown that we don't have to accept being turned against each other. We can demand better without hating each other. We can do that together. We ran a hopeful campaign backed by thousands of volunteers and activists. We defeated the parties of billionaire donors. We have shown that
there is universality in our politics. Just as though there is an international fascist movement, there is an international socialist movement as well. Okay? If you notice, all of the things that she's talking about, the forces that she had to overcome, whether it be establishment neoliberals on the supposed left flank parties like Labor, or whether it be reactionary racists on the right like Reform, notice how she had to overcome all of those different forces, billionaires. It's because we are all in this struggle together, okay? The same exact forces that constantly set and constantly create setback after setback that get in the way of a true left flank candidate that centers the working class exists in the United States of America. It exists in England. It exists everywhere in Western liberal capitalist nations. Okay? Socialism has always been a movement that feeds off of international working class solidarity. This is not to say like, oh, socialism in one country can't be attempted or tried or exist or whatever. Okay? I'm not saying like, you know, permanent international revolution here. I'm simply stating that this movement exists everywhere because the class struggle is identical when it's stripped away of its, local needs and local interests. It's still the same exact forces of pressure. It's the same exact forces that are trying to actively destabilize the working class. Okay? They were pulling Lib Dem numbers. I love that they forced the racist fucks to stand behind her while she speaks. Yeah.
we don't have to accept being turned against each other at all. And we did this with the people who live here, side by side, shoulder to shoulder, just as we have always done in this constituency and in the whole of Greater Manchester. Because this is Manchester, and we do things differently here. Thank you so much to everybody. Thank you.
So those remarks from Hannah Spencer, the MP for Gorton and Denton now.
So I hereby...
Here's the Matt Goodwin shitter.
National unifying.
Remember when Matt Goodwin said, I want a national unifying politics, which was Britain first, not Pakistan, not Gaza, not any other foreign policy thing. Britain first. And he was asked, not Israel. Remember, we watched this.
A national unifying politics, which puts Britain first, not Pakistan, not Gaza, not any other foreign policy thing. Britain first.
Not Israel?
Well, a national unifying.
What? You what? You what? Sir? Listen, this can change, okay? This can fucking change. I think the momentum is behind the Greens. All right? So Farage wants us to believe that Muslim women were desperate to vote for Matt Goodwin, but were coerced by their husbands into voting for a party led by a gay Jew instead. Fucking hilarious. Matt Goodwin once emailed me to accuse him of being racist when I called him a racist whisperer, and I had to explain to him that horse whisperers aren't horses. Anyway, here is Zach Polanski's. He's been doing a massive media tour. I've been talking to him as well. I've been trying to get him on. I wanted him to come on the broadcast, but unfortunately, he has gotten 0 minutes of sleep since this electoral victory. So we're working on establishing a good time. Potentially on Sunday, I will be having him on the broadcast to talk to him about where the Greens go from here. I want to do it live. I've been on his podcast already. You guys can go listen to our conversation on his podcast. But here's some of his media.
How was legalizing drugs, legalizing prostitution, and greater protection for trans rights and trans people put to a Muslim community in Gorton and Denton?
It was put to a Muslim community, and in fact, frankly, the whole community, because the Green Party just ran an election there where they ran an astounding victory of over 4,000 majority.
Were those particular policies in your leaflets, your Urdu leaflets?
We had Urdu leaflets because people speak Urdu, and we had Bangla.
Those policies, were they in there, Mr. Polanski?
I mean, what's the assumption behind your question here? Because it sounds...
Well, conservative communities might not support...
Like, this is so... Oh, God, I hate the fucking media so much. Again, universality in hogs and universality in shitty fucking media figures, okay? Oh, well, you were hiding some of your policies from the Urdu-speaking community. They would not vote for you if they knew you were in favor of making all drugs legal. It's like, yeah. When you're talking to different communities, you show them what you're about. Things that they would be interested in. Okay? That's it. That's it. It's that simple. It turns out you can have a massive coalition around issues that they care about. Okay? That's normal. That's good politics. Okay? You're not duping people. You're simply saying, hey, look. And this, by the way, it goes to the heart of what I always advocate for the Democrats here in the United States of America, which is you go to people and you offer them things that they want, okay? That's how you win fucking elections. That's the whole point of electeds conceding on issues from their base of support, on issues that their base of support are demanding. That's literally the fundamental principle of theoretical democracy. So funny that this guy's like, well, you realize your platform is unelectable literally at the moment of victory. It's so fucking dumb. And it stems from a outright refusal to hear the demands being made by the public. Palestine is a great example of this. 76% of the fucking British population is like, enough with this Israel shit. Cut it out, okay? And if no one is going to offer that as a principled stance, the one party that does offer that as a principled stance is going to win elections. It's that fucking simple. Okay? That's it. That's it. And it's ironic because these guys also don't realize that I say this as like someone who has tracked affinity polls on Muslims and by religious breakdown in the United States of America. Okay? Muslims post 9/11 were no longer a reliable conservative voting bloc at all. And you know what happened as a consequence of that? Muslims in the United States of America became one of the more progressive voting blocs in general. Okay? How did that happen? Because the Democrats sucked up all the votes because the Democrats weren't as openly Islamophobic as the Republicans were. It's that simple. It's that fucking simple. That's how you build coalitions. That's how you get racist voters in the fucking heartland to no longer be racist. You offer them things. You offer them amenities. You offer them You offer them things that they fucking need. And then slowly but surely through that process, they go, you know, these guys aren't so bad. These fucking socialists that I thought were terrifying aren't so bad. They gave me a house. They put a roof over my head. They helped me get health care. I like them. Maybe they weren't wrong on this trans stuff. You know, I don't fully get it. I don't fully understand it. They seem strange to me, but I'm not going to make a big fucking deal about it because you know what's a big fucking deal for me? Having a roof over my head. That's it. It's not so complicated. It's not this like incredibly complicated process. Politics is as complicated as you want to make it, okay? And Democrats love making it complicated. $50,000 in tax cuts for small businesses in urban areas. Like, that's a fucking ridiculous policy. Shut the fuck up. Say you're going to build houses for people. Say the government's going to build houses for people. And say that the people that are going to be building those houses are going to be union members, okay? Good paying jobs with benefits. That's it. It's not that hard. You make it hard for no fucking reason because you serve corporate benefactors. You serve the capitalist class, and you don't want them to get mad at you. And in many circumstances, you are a part of the capital owning class, and that's precisely the reason why it's against your class interest to advocate for the working class.
Oh. What some of those policies, we're not here to litigate whether or not they're right or not. I'm talking about conservative communities potentially might not be supportive of policies that legalise prostitution, drugs, and increase rights for trans people.
I think there's some deep assumptions there about what a conservative community is, but here's what I would say more widely. I said it when I became a leader of the Green Party, is you don't need to agree with me on everything. You need to agree with core values and fundamentals of the Green Party and what I'm putting forward. If anyone agrees with me on everything, then that's weird. Actually, what we need to do is build bridges. And look, I'm really proud that a constituency as diverse as Gorton and Denton just voted for a female plumber by a party that has a gay Jewish man as a leader. What I saw on the streets of Gorton and Denton is communities coming together who are excited for an alternative, who want to see those bills lowered, who want to challenge this Labour government. And Manchester showed reform and its deeply divisive policies the door. And I'm proud to be
This also creates a reactionary force in the country that goes Islamagauchism. They do this with the LFI in France as well, where like, on the one hand, they keep saying Muslims are barbaric, Muslims are conservative, and then they vote for the fucking most leftist party out there. They go, oh, you must have duped them because they're all barbaric. They're all fucking animals. They're all incredibly conservative, but not conservative in the way that we like, because the white supremacist conservative forces, we like those, okay? They're a part of the in-group. They're conservative in a bad way, in a barbaric way, right? Like, that's literally what this fucking dipshit is saying on Sky News to Zach Polanski. He's like, you duped them. You duped them. You straight up duped them into voting for you by hiding the truth. We've reached the Greens winning Gorton and Denton is the 1979 Iranian Revolution levels of hysteria. I saw this earlier. This is awesome. As the Iranian Revolution of 1979 showed, any coalition between progressives and Islamists end up with the lefties being discarded when they have served their purpose amid a drive towards the implosion of Sharia. Yeah, that's what's happening here. You're right. Yeah, the real green is the Islamist green, and the Ayatollah is gonna thrive in this process. The nascent Shia population is actually doing taqiyya, and they're eventually going to seize power, and they will make England the woke Sharia capital. I think, whether they would say it publicly or not, there's a number of reform-adjacent voters watching this and thinking, go on, girl. Incredible to see a normal person enter parliament. Yes. My God, how fucking deluded can someone be? And to post that delusion to the world? Shamelessness. That's where it comes from. It's a unique superpower, really, in politics. These guys are fucking not only shameless, but every new information that is supposed to destroy their worldview actually somehow finds a way to confirm their priors. Matt Iglesias does it all the fucking time. And there is a robust market for it. There are a lot of people who are in positions of power, who have profound amounts of privilege, who have profound amounts of wealth that want to hear that. Okay? They want to be lied to over and over again. And these guys consistently fucking end up rising to the top because they tell rich people what they want to hear. Look at Barry Weiss. She's the greatest example of this. She is a fucking charlatan. She is talentless. She's a hack. She's never made anything that has She's never made anything that's moved people, even a little bit, maybe made people angry, right? And yet she sits on top of a media empire now as a consequence of brown-nosing the right people, billionaires, super wealthy people, constantly telling them, oh, it's the wokes on college campuses that are the real threat to American society. Okay? The only way to fight against these forces is by organizing. The only way to fight against these forces is by getting people to unlock class consciousness, to recognize their position in society, and to fight to create a better future for themselves. Okay? That's it. But yeah, this, alongside the unimaginably successful Zoran Mamdani thing with meeting with Donald Trump, has given me endless amounts of confidence. And I tweeted, I said, it's not hard to feel discouraged seeing material realities destroyed in a collapsing fascist system every single day, but there's truly hope out there. One must use the marginal victories to maintain revolutionary optimism every day. People are angry. Now is the time to organize. Okay? That's it. Because other people also see what you are seeing. And the reality of the matter is the liberals have completely dropped the ball. They don't even care to fucking make an affirmative plea to win people back. This is our opportunity. This is the moment. This is the moment to organize. Take advantage of that anger and show people the truth. That's why I always talk about how galvanizing and how hopeful I felt in spite of the death, destruction, and devastation that we saw in the last 2.5 years in Gaza. Okay? You have to lean into moments and pockets of hope. Okay? Whether it be the election of Zoran Mamdani, the electoral victory of Zoran Mamdani, whether it be this electoral victory for the Greens, whether it be a successful meeting that Zoran has with Donald Trump. These are moments, these are pockets of hope that you can take advantage of, where you can build a movement slowly but surely, okay? These are building blocks that move us closer and closer to our goal, okay? Zoran's victory in New York City, the complete collapse of Israel's approvals as the Western world recognized Zionism as a fascist ideology, the plurality being in favor of ICE abolition in the United States of America. The cynic will tell you it's not enough, but change takes time, and all you can do is be steadfast. And you have to continue being steadfast. Okay? You have to do it for those that have been slain, and you have to do it for those who remain. That was my principle when I was engaging in my advocacy in Gaza for 2.5 years, in spite of people being like, you're a fucking terrorist, you're a Muslim fundamentalist, you're an anti-Semite, all this shit. And guess what? We're on the other side of that now. Now, of course, the struggle continues. The war is not won, right? There's obviously still so much more to accomplish here. But you have to also sometimes sit back and look at the gains that were made, no matter how marginal it feels, no matter how far change feels from where you're standing. You have to kind of pull yourself out of it for a brief moment and go, wow, change can happen. Okay? Change can happen. As long as you remain steadfast and committed to the truth, as long as you keep talking to people, seeing where they're at, and communicating a better alternative vision, you can make that change. You can be the change you want to see in the world. Okay? That's it. That's it. I feel more hopeful than I ever have in the last 10 years of my political advocacy. Okay? Rue McGuire says, probably naive, but I also think public support for Medicare for all being at or near historic highs, according to the polling, may transfer to political will and the resurgence of it as a central issue / push in 2026 and 2028. Already seeing similar to 2019 and 2020. Stay the course. I agree. Because, like, look, a lot of people want you to cast aside those forces in Congress like Ro Khanna, right? A lot of people who will take a principled approach to, like, electoralism being silly, who say there is an alternative out there that is much more viable, and that's communism now, revolution now, right? I understand where those people are coming from. Or people who cast aside the welfare state as a lifeline to the continuation of capitalism. There is truth in that assessment. There is truth in that analysis. It's one that I also recognize. But I also see the realities. I also see where the masses are. Okay? I understand that you have to move people in a certain direction. You have to organize. You have to build systems before you can actually achieve the results you want to. You can't organize to the masses that you want. You have to organize to where the masses are. Okay? And before you even build this movement, you have to get people to recognize class consciousness, to recognize their class position. You have to make people understand that there is a class war that is ongoing every single fucking day. Before we get there, all of this other stuff is purely theory, purely theoretical. Now let's move into another favored subject matter of mine, Israel and its overall disapproval. There were so many people that said, this is the end of the organized left on October 8th, 2023. There were so many who were not ready to hear the argument that this was actually Israel's own design, that its violent apartheid regime that spanned over 75 plus years at that point had created a violent reaction. Okay? People were not ready for that message at all. Many people said, nah, fuck this. I'm not hearing you. I'm not listening to you. That's ridiculous. That's unacceptable. How dare you say that? Okay? At the time, Israel's approval was fairly high, and the Palestinian approval was fairly low. As a matter of fact, lower than ever before. But very quickly, people realized that the violence that was unfolding in the region was something they could not look away from. Violence that we were contributing to with our tax dollars. Violence that we were contributing to with our policymakers and their lack of interest in correcting the record, their lack of interest in stopping Israel from doing this. Joe Biden went to Israel and gave a bear hug to Benjamin Netanyahu, and the bear hug strategy started. But because of the lack of options for Palestinians that could only show the rest of the world what they were going through, and because of the steadfast nature of the activist left that already knew what the reality looked like and already knew what was coming, okay, a lot of people kept pushing. People like myself, people like yourselves, we kept pushing. And through that steadfast approach, in spite of all the naysayers, we have now officially arrived at a position for the first time in American history where American sympathies in the Middle East situation are with the Palestinians. More Americans now at 41% sympathize with the Palestinians than the Israelis at 36%. You do not understand how profound this sea change is. Because I think for many of you, you're young, or for many of you, you weren't aware of what this dynamic looked like. You're not aware of what these numbers reflect. Because this dynamic where Israel was favored by 60%, where Palestinians could barely break over 20% sympathy in the eyes of many Americans, was kept together by a multi-billion-dollar propaganda initiative. Okay? A lot of money was spent to make sure that Americans did not learn the truth. And that went on for almost 80 fucking years. And all it took was 2 years for that to completely flip on its fucking head. That's the reason why I always stress to people who became diehard advocates, anti-Zionist, pro-Palestinian advocates overnight, that this struggle has been ongoing for almost a fucking century. Okay? For almost a century. Now, when I say it took 2 years, obviously it meant hundreds of thousands of deaths on the Palestinian side. Okay? I will tell you always, as someone who was there for a decade plus, okay, who never shied away from talking about the Palestinian plight, someone who was an avowed anti-Zionist, it's still incredibly important to understand how fast this turn happened. And it's still incredibly important to lean into that, to build confidence in your advocacy, to build confidence in your worldview, because it turns out if you are disciplined and you lean into the truth, you can actually put a dent in one of the most sophisticated and most pervasive propaganda machines that has ever existed. Do you understand? Because this didn't happen because there was a lot of moneyed interest on the pro-Palestinian advocacy side. This only happened because people were like, this is fucking wrong. And I will do everything in my power to educate those around me. I will do everything in my power to pull them, to get them to also to go outside, to get them to also protest. I will go to jail if it's necessary. I will get yelled at. I will be doxxed. I will be harassed. I will be swatted, but it doesn't fucking matter because this is the truth. You have to lean into the small victories that you get along the way to maintain your revolutionary optimism. This is what I always stress, because slowly but surely, brick by brick, you build this movement, and one day you look back and you go, wow, I can't believe we're here. I can't believe that people were against this. One day, we will all have been against this. We're not fully there yet, but that's why I always cast aside cynicism, okay? Now, I disagree. I think small victories just lead to a false sense of progress. That's pure nihilism. And this is what I'm trying to say. While there is truth in this assessment that, like, this death toll is unimaginable, okay? You are unironically doing a disservice to the Palestinians when you do this, okay? You want to know why? Because when you say stuff like this, when you tell people not to feel emboldened in this very moment, when you tell people not to keep pushing at this very moment, do you feel like you're actually helping save a Palestinian life? Or do you want to just simply come across like you're correct? To come across like you're the most moral person in this conversation? That's the entire argument here, okay? It is a disservice to the Palestinians if you just go, yeah, well, hundreds of thousands of people died. America's at the precipice of fucking invading Iran and bombing Iran. Another 100,000 potentially could die. Tens of millions displaced in the process. What is there to do? We didn't do anything. We didn't achieve anything. Oh, you felt good because you did a couple fucking sit downs and protests? Is that what it is? This is just pure fucking back padding for no reason, right? When you say that, you're trying to cut away at the momentum. That's all you're doing. Do you feel like that's productive? Do you feel like that's the appropriate thing to say here? I think this is a real big problem with leftists in general. People that constantly say, look, the problems are far too large. We haven't actually put a dent in these problems. When in fact, sometimes it's important to look at the success of this movement and to use that success to build success in other ongoing areas as well, ongoing areas of cruelty as well. I have found in my own personal experience tremendous gains that I have been able to make with people that were utterly oblivious to the situation in Cuba by making that comparison between Gaza and Cuba. Okay? You can too. Because the cruelties are still similar. The inception point is still similar. The needs are still similar. It's still imperialism. It is still American empire. Sometimes the techniques and the measures taken by the government are similar. Starvation, right? A siege. You can convince people that are naysayers, that did not believe, by reminding them how they probably also didn't believe that the Palestinian movement would ever have any motion whatsoever in this fucking country 3 years ago. Remind them of where they were and what the mental blocks that they had that caused them to think, oh, this is scary. These are scary Muslims that went and did barbaric raping and pillaging on October 7. We got to stop talking about them. Why would you ever defend them? That's crazy. Because there were plenty of people that felt that way on October 7, 2023. Plenty of people that felt that way even in 2024. Plenty of people that felt that way in 2025. And every single day there are new people that turn around and say, this was wrong. I was wrong. That's why I never cast aside people who actually come to the right conclusion, no matter how late it is, because I understand that in order to build a movement, you have to have those people on board. I took a deep dive into Zohar Mamdani's numbers. I'm not sure if the people realize this. Yeah, Lakshay Jain, another one of these like centrist pollsters. I'm not sure if people realize this, but he is actually one of the most unpopular Democrats in the country in a way that Harris, Newsom, AOC are not. And it's not even all that close per our new poll. These people are monsters, even if they don't realize it. Okay? They're monsters that try to stop progress from happening because they unfortunately lack the imagination. They also lack the backbone. They have no moral foundation for their worldview. They're simply going along with the winds. And that's why they always fucking lose. Either they lose to the reactionary forces that do have a vision, no matter how negative that vision is, or in this circumstance, hopefully, if we succeed, they will lose to a vision in the affirmative by a left flank movement that centers the working class in their politics, in their policy, in their agenda, in the future that they want to build. So it's up to you. Will you stand idly, will you stand by the side and go, I don't know, this is not moving the needle fast enough for my taste? Or will you become a part of this movement? Some of you genuinely do make perfect the enemy of good. And you don't realize that you yourself, through that cynicism, are also creating hurdles for progress to happen. You think you are making the correct assessment, and in some ways, in theory, you might actually make the correct assessment, but you miss the forest for the trees. You miss the small progress that is necessary to make that big leap, okay? Revolution doesn't happen spontaneously. It requires diligence. It requires a steadfast approach. It requires messaging discipline. It requires organizational discipline. You can either be a hanger-on that comes in at the last moment and say, I was there all along, and feel like you played a role in this, or you can actually be the person that genuinely plays a role in it. I don't know. I just feel very, very hopeful right now, and I hope it's not cut away by some devastating defeats that come later down the line. But as someone, look, as someone who's been at this for quite a while, it's hard for me not to maintain optimism at this moment. And I'll tell you what I tell people all the time. I'm a leftist. And one thing that I am very good at is taking L's, okay? If you are a socialist, if you're an anti-capitalist living in the imperial core, you have always experienced hardship and taking L's over and over and over again, okay? And the faster you overcome that fear of taking an L, or the faster you overcome the feelings that you feel in that moment of loss, whether it be Bernie Sanders in 2016, or whether it be the aftermath of the Nevada caucus in 2020, you take your licks and you keep your head down and you keep pushing, okay? You don't take for granted the inevitability of progress. You make it happen, okay? The faster you can recover from your defeats, the more dynamic you are, the more you learn from those defeats, the better it will be. The easier it will be for you to develop success in the future. That's it. For the first time, the lines have crossed. Change is coming, folks. This was a decade ago. Growing share of liberal Democrats sympathize more with the Palestinians than in Israel. Now, liberal, but that's not even the entirety of the Democrats. That's liberal Democrats versus conservative and moderate Democrats, right? Now the entirety of the Democratic Party is 80% on the side of Palestinians. Look, okay, I have a better song for this, bro. I think we're going to run this poll back, but with a better song. Because that's not very good. That's not very good audio here. 82. Israel invaded Lebanon. Plurality of Americans sympathize more with Palestinians than with Israelis for the first time in Gallup polling history. Hard to overstate the significance of this shift, says Niall Stanage, and it's not confined to the left by any stretch, despite claims otherwise. Izzy Breen says, liberal Zionists won't even call themselves Zionists anymore. Among American Jews under the age of 35, people who call themselves anti-Zionists or non-Zionists outnumber those who identify as Zionists. The end of the bipolar or bipolar. Bipartisan consensus is here. This is a fucking devastating poll, dude. Oh my God, it's so hard for me not to fucking smoke them. You know what I mean? It's so fucking, it's just, it's hard for me to feel the pessimistic for the future when I see stuff like this. Because I know what it took to get here, okay? Whether it be the unlimited human casualty numbers or whether it be the consistent advocacy from so many people, from Palestinians, Palestinian Americans, those on the left, those who were forever changed once they learned the truth about what Israel was doing. That's why I kept repeating over and over again to all of you over the course of the last couple of years where I was like, this is the most popular Israel will ever be in the Western world. Today is the most popular Israel will be. Tomorrow, Israel will be less popular than it was today. And the day after, it will be even less popular. And we still got to improve those numbers. We still got to improve those numbers. It's not going to happen, right? It's not going to magically turn overnight. That's why I kept repeatedly telling people like woke 2 is not here, or the pendulum will not swing in the opposite direction out of nowhere. Yes, I've seen Egg Boy Iglesias on the tweet on the matter. Even beyond the tactical blunders is looking like it's over for pro-Israel politics once today's seniors pass along. Yeah. Jacob Ben David Linker says, I think a bunch of people interpreted sympathize more with as meaning feel bad for. 41% of Americans sympathize more with Palestinians and 36 Americans sympathize more with the Israelis. But Israel is viewed favorably by 46% of Americans and unfavorably by 48% of Americans, whereas Palestinian territories are viewed favorably by 37% of Americans and unfavorably by 53%. 37 is still a new high for Palestinian territories, though. Keep coping. Keep coping. I like this, okay? Because it's true. Our work is not complete. Our work is not done. Israel still gets to be this incredibly violent entity in the region, constantly doing death and destruction campaigns to its neighbors over and over again. We're going to keep pushing, you know? I'm not going to stop. So this kind of cope is good because it feeds back into the fervor necessary to keep up the momentum. Okay? It's good. But like I said, this is the most popular Israel will be. Yesterday, Israel was more popular, and tomorrow, Israel will be less popular. And the only tool in the tool belt for the Zionists is nagging, harassing, false accusations of anti-Semitism, demands for firing people, demands for deplatforming, ICE detentions, double standards, and exceptionalism will make Americans sympathize more with Israelis. Again, maybe Israel killing more Americans with impunity and more pics of murdered Palestinians will help too. Pair that up with a war against a country with 93 million people in it at the behest of Israel. That certainly is going to be the cherry on top. Americans love to be told to shut the fuck up by a country that sucks away tremendous amounts of tax revenue. They love hearing the arrogance coming from Zionists in Western media. They love it. It's their favorite thing. Who could have foreseen this moment? I wonder. It doesn't require you to be fucking brilliant, okay? And this is another thing that I want to stress here. I'm not a particularly brilliant person, okay? I do not have the gift of prophecy. I just have a fucking backbone, and I recognize right from wrong, and I don't quit. And there are plenty of you in this community who are also the same. And that's the reason why this change happened, okay? Not because of just this community, but many other communities all around the fucking world. But that's it. That's fucking it. I'm stubborn, and I understand right from wrong, and I also maintain the belief in my fellow man that they too can also see right from wrong. They can be convinced. I don't give up on people, and neither should you. Okay? Hassan, is Gavin confirmed? Pulling a Gavin there? No, I just, it doesn't require much. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is a movement comprised of ordinary people. Preaching to the choir, Abi? Yeah, except every day that choir grows. I don't know if you noticed that. That's the whole point. People say, oh, aren't you talking to people who aren't you preaching to the converted? It's like, really? Am I preaching to the converted? How many people in the United States of America would have self-identified as socialists or anti-imperialists or anti-fascists not that fucking long ago? You know, that's why I always laugh when journalists ask me, like, don't you feel like you're preaching to the choir? Don't you feel like you're preaching to the choir? I say, what choir? Was the choir there when I had fucking 35 people tuning in? Was there this like mass momentum of self-identifying Marxist-Leninists and socialists and communists alike that were just simply waiting for this opportunity? No. Every one of us, myself included, was a liberal at some point, or maybe even a reactionary at some point. No one is born. In some ways, everyone is born a socialist. If you look back at the first principles, if you look back at like wanting to share, you know, sharing is caring, things like that. Man is a social animal. Of course, we all have that socialist dog in us. But that is ripped away from us early on because we are born into a capitalist system. We're born into a global capitalist world. And slowly but surely, we hyper-focus on the individuality. And by the time we come of age, we all self-identify as liberals or self-identify as conservatives, self-identify as, you know, a Democrat, a lifelong Republican, whatever. None of that is a disciplined socialist. And the very small group of people who do self-identify as that by the time they're like, you know, in their teenage years are actually born into a life of ideological privilege, I guess, because they were born into a family that educated them correctly. Saying you radicalized me 10 years ago so I can tell you that there was not really a choir back then, but more of a boy band size of a group, Lamau. You've grown a massive community over the years, and that's not ending. Yes. Yep, I was a reactionary Pennsylvania hog back in 2016. Now I've thankfully grown and see what socialism has to offer to everyone. Zionism is not like the nationalism of a larger group with the population, resources, economic heft, theft, etc. That it allows it to not depend too much on the opinions of other people. That's why the century-old Israel lobby is such a central part of Zionist activity and practice. Exactly. In practice, Zionism has been completely dependent on other people, states, governments, sympathetic publics, etc. since its inception. There is no self-sufficient version of Zionism or Israel. Israel is currently on the path to figuring out this the hard way. Straight up. That's true. It's literally true. Israel would not exist if it wasn't for the Western world using it as a settler colonial apparatus to destabilize a resource-rich region. It's that simple. It would simply not exist. America was a settler colonial enterprise as well, but America is vast, and through domination, indigenous genocide, and through slavery, America was able to form a nation state on top of basically a fucking continent, okay? Israel doesn't have that. As the average Zionist will tell you immediately, Israel is tiny nation, size of New Jersey. What are you saying? We are so small. And it's true. Utterly devoid of resources. They will turn around and say, like, this is a fucking, you know, prosperous nation. Look at what we've been able to build. You haven't built shit without unlimited fucking support from the Western world. And if that wasn't the case, they wouldn't constantly spend billions of fucking dollars in building one of the most sophisticated propaganda and influence peddling operations ever known in the Western world. It's that fucking simple. It's that simple. They would fuck off. They wouldn't be desperately trying to hold on to the evangelical Zionist base, for example, in the United States of America right now. Okay, let's test the theory by having U.S. and Europe cut off ties with Israel. No more foreign aid, no more military aid, no more diplomatic protection from international law, no more censorship of anti-Zionist speech or boycotts. Let's see what happens. Oh, that would be the fucking day. The case for Zionism is that it's always been very dangerous for Jews to depend too much on the opinions of other people. Oh, it would be the moment of glory. Okay. Oh, I wish for the day. I wish to see that day, and I know I will see that day. Okay? It's coming. And I'm glad, because the arrogance of Zionists after 80 years of complete domination on the issue of Palestine has caused them to be blinded. Okay? it's become more insulated than ever before. No investment in influence peddling beyond what they've already done, beyond the successful initiatives. Successful initiatives that obviously relied heavily on the media being incredibly censored or the media being State Department lackeys. So arrogant, so entitled, and that arrogance and that entitlement has led to their demise. I've said this over and over again. You are anti-American and anti-Western values. You are a parasite hidden in the grass. Bitch, I'm not hiding. I'm unbanning him. Hiding? Motherfucker. I wear this shit on my chest every day. Fuck you mean? What are you talking about when you say Western values? What part of Western values is supposed to be defense of apartheid? If that's Western values, then Western values need to change. Keep crying, bitch. You should be deported. Please move to Iran. Those are some of the good Western values that have allowed someone like myself to live here and to convince my fellow American citizens, as I am a part of that group, by the way, that there is a better alternative out there, one that actually does not take away their surplus labor value and offer it directly to the fucking capital overlords, but instead one that demands more for their own labor. And you can Asmongold Mogg you. Okay, buddy. Ask yourself, will dying for Israel will it be good for you? How will it be beneficial for you if you go and die for Israel in Iran? Ask yourself that question. How does this improve my life? If you want me to make a selfish argument for you, if you cannot comprehend that like killing a bunch of people overseas is not a good thing on its own, right? It's immoral, it's morally repugnant. Think about it from a selfish perspective. Does this benefit you at all, or have you been convinced by others that this is somehow beneficial for you when it's not? Yeah, Asman won't look Hassan in the eye, and you're over here talking about fucking mogging. Why do so many of you chatters support Stalin, who murdered millions of Russians, gave the order to kill 22K Poles in the Katyn forest, and engineered the Ukrainian famine? Because he melted Nazis, okay? He melted Nazis, and we fucking hate Nazis here. He was the great Nazi annihilator, and he also helmed a state that was an agrarian society being undermined by czarists as a bunch of uneducated peasants into one that was able to beat America to space, okay? Beat America in the space race. They had nothing at all. They had nothing but the entitlement that they had to the sweat of their own brow and their pickaxes and a belief that a better future was possible, and they achieved it. Hard to deny those results. Anyway, let's look at Sky News talking about the seismic shift in the Gorton-Denton by-election.
First ever Green by-election win, a disaster for Labour in a seat that they held with over 50% of the vote at the last election. But 4 o'clock in the morning, that map was redrawn. Look at this. The Greens winning with a very healthy 40% of the vote. Reform UK on just below 29, and Labour in third on 25. Look at how the Labour vote here has been cannibalised by the Greens. That is the graph that's really going to be worrying Labour MPs, wondering what happens to their votes, to their seats as we head in. It's historic by any measure. This is a list of all the by-elections that we've had in history, the biggest ones, and here is the one that we had this morning, Runcorn and Helsby here in that list, the 5th biggest Labour majority overturned. Now, you've heard from ministers already today that they think that this is par for the course. Governments lose their by-elections midway through a parliament. But I have to say, if you look closely, it's not quite the whole picture, because this is the scale of the defeat. 26% swing away from Labour to the Greens. We've never had anything like that this close out from a Labour landslide. Look, after the 2001 landslide, nothing like that in any by-elections. Ditto after 1997. And the reason that these bar charts are red is because Labour may have seen a bit of a swing away from them, but they still held the seat. And this is the story at the heart of it. What happened? What has happened to all of those 2024 Labour voters? Where have they gone? Well, 38% of them have stuck with the Labour Party. But that's not that many. 15% have gone Green, 9% have gone Lib Dem, 8% have gone to Reform. And these left-leaning parties are clearly eating into Labour's support. The question for many Labour MPs is, have the Labour Party, has Keir Starmer had the right strategy to this point? And we've got a new kid on the block. If Reform UK's emergence dominated the first 19 months of this Parliament, here we have the Greens. Here is the 40%. They've never got more than 10% in a by-election ever. Their first ever seat in the north of England. It's such a landmark moment. It does redraw everybody's political calculations. Reform UK, well, they came second, and it's their third best by-election performance, but they're not happy. Look at this.
Don't the Greens tend to be just kind of liberals, like liberals but with scented candles? No, this is a new Green Party. It's different. You're not wrong. You're not wrong for most of Green history, but it's not. This is a
Piece
new
of social media
Green
from
Party.
Nigel Farage. He said it was a victory for sectarian voting and cheating. Allegations about what's been going on in polling stations, but the Green Party clear. They said they won all over the constituency and reject that allegation. Little bit of a footnote.
Sectarian voting and cheating. Yes, family voting. The Muslimans, they got together and they voted hard. And they were duped. You see, they're barbarians, and they were duped as the barbarians that we know them to be.
The Tories. Well, up here, the worst ever Conservative by-election performance. Not one that Kemi Badenoch's going to want to dwell on. But here is the result again. This result is going to redraw British politics. It's a seismic moment for Keir Starmer. He's got to defend his strategy, set out what he's going to do next. The blame game is already underway. Where is it going to end?
Oh, Sam, thank you very much for that. So, look, we heard a bit from John there, some of the recriminations coming into his phone. I'm sure you're getting some of the same things coming in. What is the sense among those in the Labour Party as to Keir Starmer's position now? Would it have been worse for him to lose Reform, or is this just catastrophic all round?
I think there is no doubt that a loss to the Greens is the worst outcome for Keir Starmer because of that sense that for the first 18 months of his time in Number 10, Keir Starmer has been fighting to protect his right flank, stop votes bleeding to Reform UK. And then look at the results. All of these votes bleeding to the left now with a loss to the Greens. There is going to be panic. Now, the blame game's underway, but listen closely, because there are basically two factions slugging it out. There are those that think that Keir Starmer neglected the sort of left wing of his leadership with his hardline position on immigration, Shabana Mahmood's indefinite leave to remain plans being blamed for Labour's defeat here. But others say, hang on a moment, we need to be where the British public is. If you start to move to the left, are you really saying that a looser immigration policy, higher borrowing, more spending is the right answer at this point? What are your actual alternatives? It's all very well to talk about Labour values. What does that mean in reality? This debate has got a long way to go. People will talk in broad brush terms, but Kamali, the question must always be, forget the ideology. What are you actually saying should change?
Interesting.
Well, yeah, so a lot of soul-searching for Labour, but what about pressure on Keir Starmer himself?
Well, overnight, I got one more Labour MP saying that he should stand down. Now, that's significant, and they were a mainstream MP, not one from the left, but it's only one. And I'm not sure that there's a tidal wave about to hit. Could one of the potential leadership challengers actually leap in and maybe challenge Keir Starmer directly? Well, we'll ask around today. I don't feel that's the case at the moment, but could this be a moment? It feels to me like there's not long enough to change leader between now and the May elections, where they're going to be electing national leaders in Scotland and Wales. There are council elections in London.
Hi, I am pretty new here. For my better understanding of what you're saying, are you leaning more towards social democracy or democratic socialism or some other form of socialism? I'm agnostic when it comes to anti-capitalism, okay? But no, I am not a social democrat. I'm a MAGA communist who believes in this.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
I just heard William Blum's Killing Hope, but every mention of the CIA was replaced with your name. What the hell, Hassan? Are you the most evil person to ever live? Yes. Reform Nazi getting cooked in the most Brit way possible?
Mr. Goodwin, a bit of an embarrassment, isn't it, to lose to the woke Greens, isn't it? Proud patriot, not able to win a British seat. Bit embarrassing, Mr. Goodwin, wouldn't you say?
Not at all.
Well, you've lost to the Greens, sir. You've lost to the woke Greens. You can't beat the Greens. What a joke. A proud patriot who can't win a British seat. My goodness, to the Greens of all people. You're going to moan about it on GB News? You're going to moan about it on GB News? How much of a loser you are? A loser to the Greens. My goodness. It's bad form, isn't it, to just lash out at the winners? Not very sportsmanlike behaviour, would you say, Mr. Goodwin? How does it feel to be a loser, Mr. Goodwin? Mr. Goodwin's a loser. Are you going to rally about it on your show, GB News? Losing to the Greens? Loser to the Greens? Goodness. The Greens of all parties, the woke Greens. What a proud patriot you must be.
Suck me. All right. Let's now get to our version of this and what's going on. Of course, Zohran Kwame Mamdani, considered a social fascist by the sweatiest Maoist third worldists of the world, and I think considered the bastion of hope by many that consider themselves to be on the left. A man that both liberals and Republicans alike seemingly have fallen in love with, despite the fact that he is a 34-year-old Muslim socialist anti-Zionist. We know him as Mr. Cardamom by his old name. Here at the Hasanabi broadcast, Zohran Mamdani has a lot of riz, and he's using that riz for good. He did a lot of things yesterday in a meeting with Donald Trump, who is incredibly fond of him, that I personally think was brilliant, and we're going to give him his flowers today. Harry Enton, also known as Harry Emden,
Holy Toledo,
breaks down Mamdani's surge past Schumer and other Dems.
His latest visit to the White House yesterday, he not only pitched a massive federal housing plan for the city, but he came with props, playing directly into the president's love of building and perhaps the press, or at least attention of the press. And it may have worked. Mamdani also brought up a Columbia student being detained by ICE while he was at the White House. Trump phoned him shortly after the meeting to say that the woman had actually been released. CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton joining us now with more on the New York City mayor's growing popularity.
Yeah.
Walk us through.
Yeah, okay. You know, President Trump is not the only one who gets the vapors when it comes to Zohran Mamdani.
The vapors. He fucking emoted, too. The vapors.
Donnie, I mean, my goodness gracious, he likes popular politicians. Here's a popular politician for you. Take a look here. Mamdani's net favorable rating in New York City in September of 2025, plus 14 points. December of 2025, plus 38. Now look at this, plus 48 points. A more popular mayor to start off than either of his two Democratic predecessors, either Eric Adams or Bill de Blasio. The most popular Democrat in New York City in a generation. And President Trump, who likes to get on board with popular politicians, is getting on board right now with this guy.
Getting on board with this guy. Okay, so what about statewide?
Yeah.
What are we seeing statewide?
Okay, so you know what? A lot of Republicans were like, oh, we're going to run statewide in New York and run against Zohran Mamdani. There's a slight problem with that, and that is Zohran Mamdani isn't just popular in New York City. He's actually the most popular Democrat statewide. Take a look at this.
Vindication after vindication after vindication. How can you not be hopeful? Come on, man. Come on, man. We're winning so much. You're going to say, please, Hasanabi, it's too much winning. We don't want to win any longer. I'll say, no, we'll keep winning. We'll keep winning. We'll win so much. Oh, come on, dude. Come on, dude. You rarely ever see the fucking theory in practice. So close to the actual aftermath of the election, dude. You rarely ever see it. It's hard. It's hard for me to feel hopeless in this moment. I don't know how you motherfuckers do feel it. It's crazy.
Net favorable of New York Democrats statewide. Look at this, Zohran Mamdani with a positive net favor rating of plus 16 points. More popular than Kristen Gillibrand at plus 12, more popular than Kathy Hochul at plus 9, more popular than Chuck Schumer at minus 7. The bottom line is this: Zohran Mamdani is the most popular Democrat in the state of New York right now. Republicans are not going to be able to run against him in the midterms because the bottom line is this: he's popular not just in his home city, but he's popular in New York State.
I will say, from my own personal experience as a content creator, as a commentator, as a out and about socialist, like, the setbacks are not real if you just fucking stick to the meat and potatoes, okay? Motherfuckers will cry all the goddamn time, every day, be like, oh, Hassan, you hate America. You said America deserved 9/11. It didn't work in this fucking election cycle with Zoran's, mayoral victory, obviously. And it doesn't even work in my situation as well. People are constantly on the fucking sidelines going, you do this, you do that, you've said this, you said that. They try to dilute the message. They try to fucking come after you, but it doesn't really matter because people still have the capacity to see right from wrong, and you have to maintain that. You have to remember that. You have to remind yourself of that reality all the fucking time. And you got to stick your head down and you got to keep pushing through no matter what happens. And the results will inevitably speak for themselves. Okay? That's it. Thanks for covering the Green Party coverage. Salam Hassan. Much love from England. I finally got the Twitch app. Usually a YouTube viewer. Keep being you. This is also part of the reason why I get frustrated thinking about like the Ellison purchase, like sucking up all of these other like media behemoths and becoming this giant monster, this ultra-Zionist, pro-Trump monster. But I think to myself that there's still opportunity for people to seek out an alternative message out elsewhere, even if they don't get it from fucking CNN. Because guess what? I'm going to go back to Israel one more time. In spite of the unlimited faucet of pro-Israel propaganda, the endless contextualizations for Israeli violence against Palestinians over and over and over again, in the last 2 years, people still somehow found the truth. The truth will prevail as long as people fight for it, is what I'm trying to say. They take away your platforms, you'll use pamphlets. It does not matter, okay? People have an appetite for the truth. I think the Ellison merger would probably kill cable television and cable news before it actually made people into pro-Trump, pro-Israel weirdos. There might be some people who actually get duped along the way, certainly, your boomer parents, right? But think about how much. Edinger Menta made this point, and I know Mike from PA doesn't like him, and I know his audience gets real mad when I bring him up, but he made actually a really decent point. And that was that the unlimited faucet of pro-Clinton propaganda coming from liberal media could not get in the way of Donald Trump's victory, right? And it's true. He's right about that, you know? He might be wrong about some other shit, but he's right about that assessment, right? Donald Trump was still able to, partially because of Fox News and the very sophisticated conservative media giant, the conservative media behemoth out there, Donald Trump was able to overcome the conservative media machine initially in the primary structure, right? Everyone was out to get him. The knives were out. People were constantly being like, this guy fucking sucks. This guy's unserious. This guy's crazy. He's not a real conservative, they said, right? And he was able to overcome it. It always feels impossible until it's done.
As well. Okay, but what about the popularity with the president? What is it that President Trump seems to like about him?
Yeah, okay. So I think what he likes about him is the fact that he is very much the type of politician who is able to attract the media attention in the same way while sticking with what he believes is right? You know, Donald Trump has always been this type of politician who goes out there, says a whole heck of a lot of things, but then is still able to maintain his base. And Zohran Mamdani is the type of guy who's been able to bring in President Trump, but also has basically been sticking to his campaign platform. I mean, take a look at this. Chance Mamdani freezes the rent.
Guys, really crazy strategy, okay? Are you ready for this? I'm really reinventing the wheel here. Create a platform that tackle some of the most important issues that people are facing and become definable by those policies. And then once you actually win, because people go, wait a minute, you want to actually serve my interests? What the fuck? I've never thought about that before. You actually fulfill those promises. You actually fight hard for those promises. You fight hard to achieve your campaign promises, and then people like you. That's right. It's a radical approach to politics. It's called democracy. I know I often don't want to give the game away, my secrets, but kind of feels like this is rather successful, especially if you can cut through the noise. That's the brilliant part of Zoran's strategy. That the media aspect of this does matter quite a bit. I'm not just saying that because, I always got to put my boys on and my ladies. But there is an incredibly hostile media apparatus. And that hostile media apparatus is still there. New York Post, Fox News, all these other outlets are attacking him viciously. There are hostile forces within the governance structure in the New York mayoralty as well. Police, real estate, big business, Wall Street. These guys also had the knives out for Zoran, and some still do. And yet, he's able to cut through all of that noise by directly communicating with the public. Okay? He's able to cut through that noise like a hot knife through butter. So it certainly does help that he's charismatic. It certainly does help that he has a fantastic speechwriters. It certainly does help ultimately that he has this consistent ideological, principled stance towards helping the working class, helping his constituents, helping the people that got him elected, right? But the media aspect of this does matter.
The thing he had run on, look at this. According to the prediction markets, the Kalshi prediction market this year, there's still an 81% chance that Zoran Mamdani actually freezes the rent. So he is maintaining his popularity citywide. You see him right here. It's been going up like a rocket. He is maintaining, in fact, being the most popular Democrat in the state of New York right here, plus 16 points. And he is doing so while also at this point looking like he is going to actually keep that big campaign promise of freezing the rent. At this point, as I said, President Trump isn't the only one who has the vapors, because the bottom line is this: a lot of New Yorkers have the vapors about Zoran Mamdani as well, as he is sticking to his quite progressive platform.
It looks like the Donald Trump-Zoran Mamdani bromance is heating up again. New York's mayor went to the White House today to discuss building more housing in New York City. And to help make his case, Mamdani brought some visual aids, like this photoshopped front page of the New York Daily News with the headline, "Trump to City, Let's Rebuild," a play off of a 1975 front page that featured President Ford. Now, Mamdani called the meeting productive, and his office says that Trump was enthusiastic about the proposal, which included building 12,000 new units in the city. The new relationship is a far cry from the war of words between the two just months ago.
He's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic state. That's so bad for New York.
And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power.
The Mamdani thing is it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Our city is under attack.
I think you should be more international focused than just U.S. focused, in my opinion. Okay, take an hour off and really reconsider, considering that we're on the third hour of this broadcast, and I spent the first 2 hours of this 3-hour broadcast talking about the UK Greens, and only now shifted, actually 3 hours pretty much. You just tuned in the last 12 minutes and saw me talking about Zoran Mamdani and decided, oh, this guy never has an international perspective. You can subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service to rewind, okay? This is one of the amenities that you get with a subscription to the Piker Broadcasting Service. If you rewind, you can actually see my commentary on all the other issues that I covered today. Be kind and rewind. The Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. Your voluntary contributions in the form of a Twitch Prime subscription, which is free, or your voluntary contributions in the form of gifted subs, or a $7 or $6 a month subscription is the only effective way to contribute to the broadcast. Okay? When you subscribe, you are keeping the lights running, but also on top of that, and it's totally voluntary. If you don't have the money, you should not subscribe. You don't really get a lot of amenities, but some of the few amenities that you do get, you can rewind on the broadcast. If you're on a desktop, you can use the emotes all around the platform, and you can send me links. No assurances that I will actually click on said links, but that's some of the few amenities that you get. Lol, you started using that PBS line after they were defunded and can't sue you for infringement, Lamau. I mean, yeah. It's true. The Biker Broadcasting Service for tomorrow's news today.
By an authoritarian Trump administration.
He's a communist. He hates police. He hates Jewish people. And yet he's got Jewish people supporting. He hates Jewish people.
If anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him.
I still see both Democrats and Republicans fighting yesterday's war on this. They're like still trying to make these two enemies when Mamdani and Trump are just fine working together, getting some stuff done for each other, posing for pictures. I mean, is it time to just let it go?
This is a good thing. It's okay for us to have heated debates in elections, and then Democrats and Republicans work together when the elections are over. They're not going to agree on a lot of things, but I suspect if you're...
Click on this link, it says Chepsa, and it's just a poop sock. I'm in a really good fucking mood today, but I'm still not going to click on that link.
Mamdani, and you want to have a good relationship with Trump, walking into the Oval Office and saying, let's build some buildings and do some development in New York City. That's like the number one thing that you would do to get Donald Trump excited. And by the way, it's probably a great idea. And who better to get involved than Donald Trump?
You were not a Mamdani guy, but he seems to be getting the job done.
So listen, this is the big question. Why is Donald Trump doing this? I mean, I love this idea of them working together. Why can't Donald Trump work together with the Democrats in Washington, D.C.? You have Donald Trump here, and he calls Mamdani a communist over there. He said, but I want to work together with him. Good. I like that. Why can't he work together with the Democrats? There must be something going on here.
Can I flip the question? Why can't Democrats learn from how Mamdani is dealing with Trump?
I said, I wrote
because he understands the game.
I wrote an op-ed.
He walks in with a poster and a very direct ask. That's a win-win for everybody. $21 billion for 12,000 affordable homes. Trump wants affordable housing. Easy. It's easy to see how you get a deal. Should Democrats learn from that?
Yes, absolutely. I've wrote an op-ed saying, let's work together with Donald Trump. I've sent letters to the president, bipartisan letters, saying, let's make a deal on immigration to get something done. The problem is the president has not talked to any Democrats in Washington, D.C. He talked to John Fetterman once in March of 2025. He talked to Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries before the shutdown, and that's when the whole thing with the sombreros for Hakeem Jeffries. And he's talked to Schumer a couple times about the Gateway Project. He has not been talking to the Democrats. At the State of the Union the other night, I'm very well rested from that evening, but he made a...
you didn't have to stand up too much,
he made a point of saying they're all crazy, they're all sick. I mean, let's work together to actually solve some of the real problems that affect people's lives.
But how many of your colleagues didn't bother to show up at something that would have been controversial for them to show up to and express...
Low Kirk, Trump calling him a commie, then working with him just normalizes communism. GD Pond, Don strikes again. I said that as well. Like, you call Nancy Pelosi a communist, then, you know, you're disparaging communism. You call Zoran Mamdani a communist, all of a sudden people are like, maybe fucking communism ain't too bad. You know, Bravo 360, thank you for the 100 gifted subs. God damn, Bravo. Also, once again, I'm going to do a call to action that I normally don't do, but if you like the fucking soundboard, subscribe right now. If you like the soundboard, in the aftermath of the 100 gifted subs that just came in, if you like the soundboard, subscribe right now or gift subs, and the soundboard will continue. If you don't like the soundboard, then don't subscribe. If you don't subscribe, I'll assume you don't like the soundboard at all. This is how democracy works now, okay? This is just like the electoral system. Your money goes a long way here. Kind of feels like people like the soundboard. Chepsa, Chorbe, Suki, thank you for the 5 gifted. Lord, Racknor, thank you for the 5 gifted as well. God damn. Bravo 360th with another 100 gifted subs left on me with a 5. God damn. Why? Kind of feels like people are demanding this, huh?
I'm gay and Lebanese.
Or
we are Charlie
He's looking up at us right now. Trump doesn't work with the Democrats because they're all compromised and you're compromised. Why should someone take you seriously and buy your shit? Zoran ain't compromised. That's why. Wait, what? What? I'm compromised. I'm compromised by the Democrats because of what? Because I work with Democrats like Zoran Mamdani, who isn't compromised? How does that work? Please explain.
Some interest in at least respecting the office and respecting the institution.
Listen,
there were plenty who chose not
to the President of the United States of America.
Benton
Mr.
AC.
President, let's work together to get some stuff
Emilia.
done. Let's
Thank
work
you
on
for the 5.
affordability.
Little B Stan, thank you for the
Let's
10
work on
gifted.
immigration.
Cloud Queen, thank you for the
Let's work on
5.
the things that are affecting real
Pterodactyl,
people's
thank you for
lives
the
in
5.
America.
Traffic Man,
And
thank you for
stop
the
all
10.
finger pointing.
Close
I'm ready to
Presidents,
work
thank you
with
for the 100.
If Democrats could get Trump
Parky
to the
Park,
table,
thank you for the
should
20.
they?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, Mamdani said he was working for the people of New York. His job is to get the people of New York affordable housing. If he can get that money from the president, terrific. If he can get that money from Kathy Hochul now that the federal government owes her $13.5 billion refund for Trump's tariffs, great. He's doing what he said he would do. He said he would work for the American people. He said he would work for the people of New York. And I just think people should remember that picture of Trump smiling his face off, because I've never seen him so happy, when the GOP messaging for the midterms is Mamdani and the radical left Democrats destroy America.
Well, I think that's the end. I think
Think
that's
about
the
every
end
piece
of
of
that
literature that they put in
argument.
my campaign.
That's probably the end of that argument
Probably no more
today,
time. There's
and the end of our panel discussion on this topic.
Good morning, everyone.
So, couple things. I really hope that Democrats that see this experience where Donald Trump is just fucking doing the Gluck 5,000 to Zoran Mamdani and all 16 of his inches learn an incredibly important lesson here. Of course, Democrats are devoid of the capacity to feel shame, and they're also utterly disinterested in learning any lessons whatsoever. But if they did have that capacity, they would learn a very valuable lesson here. First, they would feel shame, the shame of not doing anything, because there are New York Democrats out there that have never even made the ask that Zoran Mamdani did, which is, please release my fucking constituents. Okay? That's number one. And the lesson that they would learn is if they actually went to Donald Trump and extracted concessions from Donald Trump without really giving him anything in return, by just simply telling him, like, if you do this, people are going to like you. Turns out Donald Trump is willing to fucking play ball despite being a tyrannical fascist. Okay? A lot of establishment Democrats on the timeline have been fucking so unimaginably jelly beans, okay? Peanut butter and jealous about this experience that we all watched unfold yesterday. Okay? And I was seeing it on the fucking timeline. It was awesome. Peanut butter and jealous, dude. It's shameful. I'll give you one example. I'm going to read you one example of these incredibly annoying, incredibly jealous centrist Democrats, right? Centrism fan account. Founder of People for Chelsea on hiatus. Former president of Mexico thinks tasting food, blah, 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 whatever. If literally any other Democrat did this exact same thing, this site would be full of people like Amanda saying it was proof that Democrats were capitulating to Trump, that we need to get rid of them all. But because it's their guy, it's okay to smile alongside him for the photo op. I responded by saying, incredible cope. And he said, why is your head so small? Okay? Now, what's funny about this is Democrats have been fucking pictured with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has ritualistically humiliated them. Part of the reason why is because he hates fucking losers. And many of these Democrats are fucking losers because they're centrists. That's number one. Number two, Democrats don't fucking go there with a demand that they let be known ahead of time. Okay? I know for damn sure none of them would be saying it was jaw-droppingly good. Whitmer basically did this, and many, including myself admittedly, shit on her. What concessions did Gretchen Whitmer get? The problem is, when centrists go and do this glad handling, they do it as a call for bipartisanship in the form of ceding ground to Republicans, whether that's on trans rights, abortion, or immigration, etc. They are not pleased with the fact that the only Dem capable of placating Trump is a socialist who doesn't move to the right on anything. That's it. That's it. If you go to Donald Trump and you shake his fucking hand because he's going to give another $40 billion to Israel, yeah, of course people are going to say you're a fucking scumbag. If you go to Donald Trump and you're like, we want to build housing. You love building housing. Come on, give us some money. Give us $21 million to build affordable housing units in fucking in New York. Then yeah, obviously that's a little bit different, don't you think? That's it. They cannot understand for the life of them why when they do shit, when their guys do shit, it comes across as whiny, begging. It comes across like they're conceding on key issues that are important for their fucking constituents. This is what happened when Schumer and Jeffries met Donald Trump. If you remember, he used this as an opportunity to shit on them. Chuck Schumer and Jeffries had the momentum. They had the public backing on their side. And even in this moment where they were supposed to put on a fucking strong face and put on a fight, they came into that meeting like the pussies that they are, and they got fucking humiliated for it. Zohran Mamdani came in, knew exactly how to fucking massage Donald Trump's sensibilities, came in with the fucking silly ass like Trump to city, let's build, Ford to city, drop dead, showcasing with visual aids exactly how you can get this dumb fucking boomer on board with your message. But instead of learning a lesson, these guys are just mad. Yeah, art of the deal. I received 12,000 homes, release of constituent kidnapped by ICE, we received fake newspaper cover. It can be that fucking simple, it seems. I covered this extensively yesterday. There's obviously other forces at play here. It's like Donald Trump's own personal need for being well-liked by, you know, elite New York socialites. Like Donald Trump would love to have, the reason why he loves Ivanka more than all of his other children is not only because he, you know, has a weird sexual pathology around the whole thing, but also because she was welcomed by the elites. She was welcomed by the liberals. You know, she gets to exist in high society in ways that his disgusting male heirs and also Tiffany Trump never will. Okay? That's it. It's that simple. He is a much simpler man than we give him credit. Zohran Mamdani was embraced by the socialites. He is born into that world. Son of a famous academic, Mahmoud Mamdani, and a very, very famous director, right? Zohran Mamdani came from this crowd, won favors with this crowd. He is a representative of this crowd. And Donald Trump is so fucking desperate to be liked by the New York elite society. It's also New York City. He's a New Yorker still, so no matter how much Palm Beach has claimed him, it's also real estate, which is bread and butter. Zohran is able to appeal to both. Exactly. He fucking loves building shit.
It is truly a pleasure to be here. And I want to say thank you so much for your introductory remarks. You know, before we speak about the Weeksville Heritage Center, I want to share a few words about my recent visit to the White House. Yesterday, I did something that I am truly reluctant to do. I left New York City. I traveled down to Washington, D.C. to meet with President Trump in the Oval Office. I have said time and again that our city faces an immense affordability crisis. It is felt by residents here in Weeksville, across Brooklyn, and across the 5 boroughs of the city that we all love and call home. And it is felt whenever New Yorkers try to find a place to live, go grocery shopping, put their kids in childcare, or even take public transit. Addressing this crisis was the focus of my meeting with the president. I proposed working together to build more than 12,000 new homes in our city, which will be the single largest housing development New York City has seen since 1973. The president was interested in the idea, and I look forward to the ensuing conversations about how to build more housing in a city that doesn't have enough of it. We also discussed the immigration cases I know are front of mind for so many New Yorkers. I shared my concern with the president about ICE's detention of Columbia student Elmina Agayeva yesterday morning, as well as the detention of 4 additional New Yorkers in relation to the university, Mahmoud Khalil, Mohsen Mahdawi, Yunseo Chung, and Niqaq Ordia. I asked that their cases be dropped. I'm grateful that shortly after our meeting, the president called me to inform me that Elmina would be imminently released, and indeed she was. Now I want to speak about the reason that we are together today.
This morning, new questions about how ICE agents gained access to a residence owned by Columbia University to detain an undergraduate student. The university saying federal agents made misrepresentations to gain entry to the building to search for a, quote, missing person.
The agents gained entry by stating they were police searching for a missing child. They made their way to the apartment of the student they were targeting with the same story. Our security cameras captured the agents in the hallway showing pictures of the alleged missing child.
School officials said campus police intervened and demanded a warrant when the intentions of the federal agents became clear, but they say it was not provided. New York's governor slamming ICE over allegations of entering student housing without a warrant.
This is an organization that is out of control. They need to be refocused, reorganized, retrained, start over, because it's just not working.
In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security says investigators verbally identified themselves and visibly wore badges around their necks, claiming they did not and would not identify themselves as NYPD. The student, Eli Agavilla, a neuroscience major from Azerbaijan, was taken into custody, posting this image saying, "DHS illegally arrested me. Please help." Federal officials say the building manager and her roommate allowed officers into the apartment. The incident unfolding as New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani met with President Trump at the White House. The mayor later...
Do you agree with the conspiracy that say Zoran denied giving the Dem response due to his impeding meeting with Trump and being harsh on Trump beforehand would compromise his aims in the meeting? No, the Democrats did not want to fucking have him deliver the response at all. Because if they wanted to go with Zoran Mamdani, and Zoran was like, oh, I have a meeting coming up with Donald Trump, I don't want to like fuck that up, they could have gone with AOC. Okay? I mean, it's delusional to assume that the Democrats don't have like a deep line of talent that they could go to, especially in the populist side of things. They just hate, they despise the populist wing of the party. They fucking absolutely despise them. They want to fucking squash it to the best of their ability. They are fearful of the momentum on our side. They abso-fucking-lutely do not want to even come out with like they don't want to ever put them on. They don't want to put our guys on ever, okay? Because they are utterly fearful. They are terrified. They're utterly terrified of the fact that if the Democrats give a larger platform to the left flank candidates, people are going to be like, what the fuck? I want that. What do you mean? I would love that, please. And of course, I'm not talking about like the Democrat Party account run by some fucking Zoomer who obviously loves Zoran and is probably like a Hasanabi head. I'm talking about the party machine. The party machine genuinely fears left flank momentum taking over the party. They have to maintain their controlled opposition stance. Otherwise, they lose all their corporate benefactors.
Posting that Trump informed him that Agayiva will be released imminently. Now free, Agayiva announcing her release online, saying, I am safe and okay, adding, I am so sorry, but I am in complete shock over what happened.
A DHS spokesperson confirms that the student was placed in removal proceedings and released as she awaits a hearing, guys.
All right, Stephanie, thank you.
Here in New York, there is anger after a graduate student at Columbia University was arrested in her apartment by immigration agents. She's now back on campus after several hours in custody. The university claims the agents lied to get into her building. Homeland Security officials deny that. Tom Hansen looks at the latest detention case at a school where other students have been taken away.
Protesters hit the streets outside of Columbia University's campus Thursday after federal immigration agents detained Elmina Agayeva, a neuroscience student set to graduate this year.
I've been friends with her for a while now, and to see this happen to someone who just wants to be here and make a better future, for herself and to brighten her future, it just...
Bro, Columbia students are just carrying this fucking institution. I swear to God. Columbia, the Democratic Party, like... democracy across the board is just being carried by people who are consistently cast aside as naysayers, like by the very same institutions that they are defending. It's crazy. I cannot fucking stand what Columbia is nowadays. I want to say what it's become, but it's kind of always been this way. And judging by past incidents where, identical student movements were organized and forced the campus to make certain decisions, which the campus obviously objected to, and then acted as though they were all along, they were on the side of the students later down the line, when history vindicated them with student protest movements, anti-war movements in the past, the anti-apartheid movement in the 80s and 90s. It was fucking unbearable. It is unbearable that these guys stand in opposition to every single thing that these people are doing, these students are doing, these brave students are doing, and only to turn around a decade later and be like, we were there all along. Look, we cherish our student protesters. Fucking assholes, man.
It's absolutely devastating.
In a statement, Colombia's acting president alleged that federal agents made misrepresentations to gain entry to Aguilleva's dorm around 6:30 a.m., saying they were searching for a missing person. In response, the Department of Homeland Security said the building manager and her roommate let officers into the building, adding that investigators verbally identified themselves and visibly wore badges around their necks.
Today I will be studying for my genetics exam and going through literature for my research manuscript.
Aguilleva, a social media influencer with hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram and TikTok, is originally from Azerbaijan. According to DHS, she had a student visa that was revoked a decade ago, allegedly for failing to attend classes. New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani posted Thursday that he had shared concerns about Aguilleva's detention in a meeting with President Trump, who later...
Zoran ran on protecting trans healthcare in New York City, but so far has been radio silent at NYU Langone, and Mount Sinai cutting youth trans care. Really feels like he's turned his back on us. I haven't seen anything that he said, but people are fucking, like, not only... I don't know if Zoran himself has said anything about that. I'd be shocked if he doesn't say anything at all about it. But I know like Claire Valdez and like numerous other, like the entirety of the DSA is on that shit. The entirety of the DSA is organized around that and have been organized around that. They've been fucking lighting NYU's ass on fire. NYU also is a private institution, but you can still be the mayor and have a little bit of motion there. So
you're called to say,
dude, I don't think Zoran Mamdani has turned his back on trans people, chatter. I'm going to be real with you. Like,
she was being released from federal custody.
Now, the mayor's office told CBS News that Immigration and Customs Enforcement agreed not to move Aguilleva out of New York City so she could have her day in court here. In a social media post after her release, Aguilleva wrote in part, quote, "I am in complete shock over what happened. Please don't worry. I love you all, guys."
All right, Tom, thank you very much.
Yeah, also Zoran was quoted in the American Express press release, "Woke capital is so bad." Zoran Kwame Mamdani, mayor of New York City, the completion of the final commercial tower of the World Trade Center is more than an investment. It's a testament to the power of union labor and the dignity of work. This project represents thousands of good union jobs that sustain families and strengthen our communities. When we invest in New York, we must ensure that the investment flows to working people, to the carpenters, electricians, and laborers who quite literally built this city. That's how we grow our skyline and our economy at the same time, by putting working New Yorkers first. Yeah, what happened? I thought Capital Flight was imminent. What happened? American Express, we are excited to share our plans to build a new state-of-the-art global headquarters at 2 World Trade Center, reaffirming our company's deep commitment to Lower Manhattan. Where's the Capital Flight? Where is the Capital Flight? Also, this does read like, I'm not going to lie, this has a little bit of Chat GPT vibes to it. And I'm not even saying that because of the M-dash. But it's always that, like, it's not just this, but it's also that. Well, not the completion of the final commercial tower at the World Trade Center is more than an investment. It's a testament to the power of union labor and dignity of work. That does kind of feel ChatGPT like. Look, I will just say this. Yeah, the contrasting statements is like the classic. The contrasting statements and the fucking M-dash, it gives AI vibes. Except he also kind of talks like that. It's either ChatGPT or ChatGPT was just trained on a lot of press statements and they kind of sound like that. Are you calling our boy a bot? Zoran doesn't write all of his speeches, chat. He has a brilliant team. One that I will one day steal from under him. Not because I'm going to like run for office or anything, but he better fucking watch out. I mean, he literally sucked up half of the leftist campaign people. Fair is fair. You know what I mean? You got to spread the love around a little bit. Pay your editor. Yeah, I am notorious for not paying people I work with, famously. Stay away from Zara. I've known Zara for longer than Zoran has known Zara. But that's not even who I was thinking of. I've literally known Zara for longer than I've known Zoran, obviously, because I haven't known Zoran for that long. But I've known Zara for longer than Zoran has known her as well. No, not Zara Larson, Zoran's campaign manager, one of Zoran's campaign manager. Pay your dog with pets now. Look at her paw. Look at her paw dangling off the side of the fucking bed. She is knocked the fuck out. I hate your haters so fucking much. I mean, dude, let them hate. What are you going to do? They have nothing. They got no motion.
Thank you for taking my...
Bro, they got no motion. They got no bitches. They got no movement. They got no backbone. They're literally fucking angrier than they ever have been because they have no capacity to seize on this moment. Let them fucking hate from the sidelines. You got to give them something, dude. Half of the fuck Hassan contingency has collapsed. That marketplace is drying out right in front of our eyes. Hassan derangement syndrome is basically established as a serious form of mental illness at this point. Because this is not even about me. Unfortunately, for a lot of people on the internet who are drama brained, they have turned me into like a beacon of an entire fucking movement. I'm not that guy, okay? I've never said I'm that guy. I don't believe I'm that guy. But for many people on the other side, on the opposing side, they think that the only way to express your anger and frustration towards like this growing left movement, which you have been blinded into hating for some fucking weird reason, is by saying, oh, this is Hassan. These guys are Hassan pilled. Hassan bad, Hassan bad, Hassan bad. The reality of the matter is I'm just one fucking person. I have a relatively sizable community of like-minded people that work on campaigns, that go and run for office, that become elected representatives. But the thing is, like, there's only so much fuck Hassan you can, repeat over and over again as your rallying cry, as your mantra, as like things are devastatingly unstable. Things are collapsing all around us. So eventually the audiences for that Hassan derangement syndrome basically turn into the people that are like, well, my fucking rent isn't getting fixed. Like, why are you constantly obsessing over this fucking guy? And it kind of feels like this fucking guy that we have been told is like the primary villain of American politics for some reason keeps, finding himself on the right side of a lot of issues. Right? You are not the movement, but I really appreciate that you cover current events. Yeah, I'm not the movement at all. I'm simply a voice. I'm one voice. I share the frustrations that you share. I have the capacity to feel empathy for those who have less, and I try to do my very best to offer a voice to people who feel like their voices are not heard. That's it.
Question.
Yes.
What is your reaction to the downgraded charge for the suspect arrested in the snowball pelting? And what do you say to police officers who are very upset about that and very upset about the incident?
I will say first and foremost that I believe that our police officers should be treated with respect. They are at the heart of delivering exactly that public safety that I was speaking about earlier. And they've also been at the heart of responding to the city's first blizzard since 2016, because police officers were not just out there continuing to do the jobs that they always do, but they also have a tow truck task force, which is one that was chiefly responsible for digging New Yorkers' cars out of the snow, of digging out ambulances, MTA buses, keeping the city moving in that manner. And for that work and everything that they do, I'm deeply appreciative. And what I've said in regards to the snowball fight is that it's a snowball fight that got out of hand, and I don't really have much more to say to it.
The charge, do you have a reaction to?
I can't believe that the snowball gate is like still ongoing, by the way. It's unbearable. Like, you are so unserious, brother and sister, and anyone and everyone in the fucking mainstream media that like is leaning into this to the best of their ability, being like, this is This is gonna be the real. This is gonna be the real story. We'll get him. A lot of us see you as that guy, even if you don't want it. You do represent this movement. You are the largest left-wing commentator on the internet right now. I'm sorry if you don't want it. You're not the leader, but for many people, you do represent the left online. You don't control or command us, but you are a voice for us in many ways. I mean, yeah, I recognize that responsibility that I carry. I'm just saying that a lot of people on the opposite side, a lot of people who have, like, weirdly enough, placed themselves in opposition to me when they shouldn't at all, because I think that there are probably a lot of areas of agreement, have incorrectly decided that, like, everything that I'm saying is not representative of the feelings of a lot of people, but instead is just like me propagandizing on, like, hypnotizing people single-handedly, and they turn around and think like, oh, instead of attacking the ideas, I can attack the person over and over again, and this way we can just, like, get ahead of this left movement. You know, people spend way too much time in here talking about you positively, negatively. Okay, brother, chill out. This is, like, literally 10 seconds that we brought this up. Okay,
I answer the question.
Yeah,
thank you. We'll go to Sam and then Dana.
George, we're going to turn now to the latest round of Iran nuclear talks amid the U.S. military buildup in the Middle East and threats of a possible strike from the White House. Chief Foreign Correspondent Ian Pannell is in the region. Good morning, Ian.
Signs of progress? Yeah, right, dude. Unless you mean, like, progress in the direction of bombing Iran, because that's the only fucking progress I've seen. At least with, like, fucking troop movements and whatnot. I gotta pee.
Yeah, good morning, Michael. Mixed messages after a third round of talks between the US and Iran amid this massive military build-up. Iran saying the talks went well and that there'll be another round next week, but the US side remaining silent, not expressing optimism publicly or in private, and not confirming it will take part in Monday's meeting. Meanwhile, ABC News learning the top US commander in the Middle East, Admiral Brad Cooper, briefed President Trump Thursday on potential military options in Iran, according to a person close to the president. A US official confirming to ABC News before the latest talks that Iran's offering to suspend its enrichment of uranium for a limited period. But remember, the president demanding no enrichment, no nuclear program at all. And as tensions rise this morning, the US Embassy in Jerusalem authorizing the departure of non-emergency US government personnel and family members from Israel. George?
Yeah, that's quite a sign. Okay, Ian, thanks very much.
Good evening. President Trump has said tonight he's not happy with the way that talks with Iran have been going, but he still wants to secure a deal. More talks are planned next week, overshadowed by the threat of U.S. strikes. With American forces built up in the region, Britain has closed its embassy in Iran and also moved some diplomatic staff and their families from Tel Aviv in Israel. The U.S. Embassy in Israel earlier urged...
Yeah, notice how this is, like, the opposite of signs of progress? They're like, oh, the talks seem productive. Meanwhile, every other fucking more consequential movement is in the opposite direction of productive.
Staff to leave now if they want to, joining other nations in encouraging people to go. Let's go live now to our U.S. correspondent, David Blevins, who is in Washington. I mean, David, obviously the U.S. president has mentioned attacking Iran for quite a while now. Do you get the sense, is there a sense in Washington that things are escalating?
Well, there is one word we are hearing rather often from the president, and that is the word but. He says he's not happy with Iran, but not rushing to conclusions. Instead, he's going to wait for further discussions to take place. He says he would love not to attack Iran, but in his words, sometimes you have to. And also adds that it would be wonderful if Iran negotiated in good faith, but right now they're not getting there. That's what the president has had to say. He's on his way to Texas to take part in an energy event there. But let's just listen to what he said leaving the White House a short time ago.
Well, we haven't made a final decision. We're not exactly happy with the way they negotiated. They cannot have nuclear weapons, and we're not thrilled with the way they're negotiating, so we'll see how it all works. I guess you could say there's always a risk. You know, when there's war, there's a risk in anything, both good and bad. We've had tremendous luck with myself, solid.
The only thing you're wrong or losing is because you are a Muslim and you talk to religious Muslims like a white man talking to a veiled woman about freedom. Lol, I think your religion is rock. Is your rock on the foot? What? Brother, do you know who you're talking to? Like, who do you think I'm like I'm drunk. Hello, chat, vote PCP. Yeah, you must be fucking drunk. He didn't even ping you, just doing it for the love of the game. Yeah. Motherfuckers say shit like Islamophobia was made up. Yeah, no, I mean, how can you look at this situation and read it as anything but like, yeah, I see you talking, but your name is Hassan, and that's a hang up I can't get over. It's a Canadian far right party. Good luck to you, chatter. Like that right there is a perfect depiction of how racism is like truly a major filter, and it causes your brain to work in very unique ways. It causes your brain to like not see the information in front of you. It causes your output to reflect the output of a stroke victim like John Fetterman or something. You know? Like, I believe in religious tolerance, but it's not a secret that I'm secular, you know? But this guy sees someone by the name of Hassan and immediately goes, oh, you want to do like forced head coverings or whatever kind of fucking fantasy he has in his mind about what it means to you know, come from a Muslim background in general. Insane.
Khomeini, al-Baghdadi, everything's worked out, and then we do the Midnight Hammer and so many others. Everything's worked out, and we want to keep it that way, but we're going to see. Look, it'd be wonderful if they negotiate really in good conscience, good faith and conscience, but they are not getting there.
So the President of the United States sounds like a man who is undecided right now. But of course, we've been hearing conflicting messages for quite some time. 9 months ago, he said Iran's nuclear capability had been completely obliterated. Now he's expressing concern about its nuclear capability. A month ago, he told people in Iran to keep protesting and said help was on the way. That help never arrived. And just this week...
Yeah, help is on the way. Hellfire missiles, baby. Hellfire missiles, baby. We're going to help you guys so big. We're going to help you guys more than you've ever been helped before. You're going to say, please, sir. Please, please, no more help is what you'll say. And I'll say, I'm going to keep helping you. I'm going to keep helping you no matter what. Yeah, Hellfire missiles, more like help fire missiles. Stop joking about this. 30,000 people died. Okay, first of all, that number is absolutely not correct. There is no official, with the exception of the American government and the Israeli government, there's no, like, even Western-backed NGO that has arrived at a number like that. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you're right about the second part. 30,000 people will die, probably in the first round of fucking bombing, if Donald Trump actually, you know, gets his wishes across.
In his State of the Union address, he said he needed to hear sacred words from Iran that they were not going to build a nuclear bomb. Of course, Iran has been saying that for a long time now, but there is intense speculation that a strike could be imminent because of the largest buildup of the US military in that region since the invasion of Iraq back in 2003, and because various nations are advising their diplomatic staff to leave if they have the opportunity to, or while they have the opportunity to do so.
David Blevins with the latest from Washington. David, thank you.
Over the last few hours, the drums of war have been beating all the louder across the Middle East. The United States has withdrawn non-essential staff from its embassy in Jerusalem. Britain has withdrawn all of its staff from its embassy in Tehran. The Israelis reportedly are moving vulnerable patients out of some of the hospitals into safer areas. And so as we look...
This guy said, goddamn, it's also a pedophile Nazi. Dude thought I was pro-Israel for a second, I think. He thought I was like, you know, one of these groypers who's like pro-Jeffrey Epstein or something.
Across the region, we can see that there is a sense...
He thought I was pro-Trump.
Something warlike is about to happen fairly soon. It might all be a bluff. Of course it might. But if so, it's a fairly elaborate bluff, because the United States has got two carrier strike groups, one, the Abraham Lincoln, south of Iran. It's got the USS Ford, the carrier strike group in the Eastern Mediterranean, and it's got bases all over the region. Thing is, it can't use most of those bases because the Middle East governments won't allow them to be used, so it would have to launch strikes from its carriers and from other bases further afield. It's even sent...
U.S. Colonel confirms the soldiers clogged the toilets on purpose? What? Who is the U.S. Colonel? Colonel McGregor just revealed sailors on board USS Gerald Ford. I don't think this is... I mean, it could be true. I just don't think that any guy on a panel like that is going to be... He's going to have the actual information. No disrespect. Also, speaking of Kirako, did I say his last name right? Ex-CIA John, not Kirako, it's Kirako, right? Kirako. Is it Kirako? No, I don't think he says it's Kirako. I thought it was different. Anyway, he's going to come on the broadcast. He said yes. Very excited to... Kiriakou. I need to fucking figure out how to say it before he gets on. I'm so bad with that shit, though. God fucking damn it. Anyway, he's gonna, we're gonna set up we are going to set up a broadcast.
F-22s, this is the aircraft that they won't sell to anyone else in the world. And they've got F-22 sitting in Israel at the moment. So it looks as if something is going to happen. But although they're poised for what could be a very destructive and even a long attack, something lasting 2 or 3 weeks that would go after Iranian air defenses and then Iranian infrastructure and then maybe go after all of the regime nodes themselves, the understanding is that the Americans would probably take some losses if they did that. There would be deaths, there would be damage, they might lose some aircraft, they might have damage to ships. So the Iranians are making it clear that they could do quite a lot to make this very expensive for President Trump. And the Iranians are also indicating, of course, that they might even block the Strait of Hormuz. They could actually bring the whole world economy into their retaliation, and they've threatened to do this before. Blocking the Strait of Hormuz, 20% of global energy, mainly oil, goes through the Strait of Hormuz, and that immediately will put a strain on the world economy. Not likely that they would do that immediately, but if the Americans had a longish attack on Iran, they may well decide to do it and retaliate in general across the region. And many other countries in the region are very nervous that this might set off a really unstable sort of domino effect. So ultimately, this comes down to a personal battle between Ayatollah Khamenei and Donald Trump. These are two naturally autocratic leaders who don't accept very much advice that they don't like. And it's possible that Trump has been bluffing all the time. It's possible that these drums of war are all to increase the pressure on Khamenei. But at the moment, Khamenei looks as if he's not going to rush to do a deal. He's going to hold off on that. It looks as if Khamenei is calling Donald Trump's bluff. And if he is, then Donald Trump has got to spend the weekend making some very careful decisions. If he is bluffing, he's got to find a way out. But just maybe it'll turn out he isn't bluffing after all.
Well, here in Jerusalem, in fact, across the Middle East, there is nervousness about what happens next. Will America and Iran come up with a deal? And if they don't, and
surely Iran will retaliate this time. I mean, I do think that they will. The reason why I think Iran will probably retaliate this time is because they already did this song and dance, and they came in all restrained, and obviously when they did the restrained counter, when they did the restrained counter in the 12-day war, that didn't lead to any positive results for them. As a matter of fact, the only thing that happened was mass instability that came afterwards as well. The American government put even stronger sanctions on their economy. So I do suspect that they recognize that they're cornered. And sometimes if you're cornered, the only way you can get out of that corner is by fighting your way out. So that's my suspicion. But having said that, there is unlimited restraint oftentimes from the Ayatollah, so we shall see.
Maybe even if they do.
Retaliated with what, man? It's a suicide mission. Wait, what? First of all, the 12-day war was infinitely more beneficial for Iran than the way it's presented in mainstream news. As a matter of fact, they've come to that conclusion. They've come to that recognition. Even Western media has come to that recognition as of late when they constantly talk about how little they have in the munitions to defend Israel and to defend the American bases. Okay? Because this isn't just about being able to have tremendous offensive capabilities. America has that tenfold. America has that unlimited, virtually unlimited supply. They have 400 fighter jets. They have bombs. They can strike targets with great ferocity. This is not the issue. The issue is, in the aftermath of striking targets on Iranian soil, will Iran be able to turn around and strike back against Israel and punish Israel? Will Iran be able to strike back against American assets in the region and punish America? Will Iran be able to take out naval assets, for example? That is incredibly costly. That is what they fear. And they clearly do not have the defensive munitions to, continue a long-standing bombing campaign. What's your number of deaths? Like, at what number will you start recognizing the brutality of Iran's government? Let's say 30,000 number is wrong. What do you think? 10,000 people is not fucked enough to get massacred in 1 week while they cut off access to the internet, while they kill civilians? If you can point to any moment where I have not said that this is unimaginably cruel, 10,000 deaths is not unimaginably cruel, I will give you $10,000. The fuck are you talking about? What is wrong with you? You always do this. I refuse to ban you, even though you're so fucking annoying. But like, I have recognized the cruelty of the Iranian government. What the fuck is wrong with you? As a matter of fact, that's my argument. I say, you just say the 30,000 number is wrong? No, that's not the only thing I say, except you want to present it as though that's the only thing I'm saying. I always say, even if the number is in the thousands, even if the number is 2,000, even if the number is 3,000, that is completely unacceptable. What the fuck are you talking about? That's why I said, find any moment on this broadcast where I've simply just said, oh, it's just 2,000, shut the fuck up, and I'll give you $10,000. Yeah. This was Amit Segal of channel or N12 News, who said, so you're telling me that when push comes to shove, after years of strategic alliance, the American base in Doha is packing up and moving to Israel because Qatar isn't really a partner in the effort to prevent a nuclear Iran. Who saw that coming? I cannot believe the arrogance, dude. I cannot believe the arrogance coming from any Israeli that has the audacity to say such a thing. Okay? No, I never said that. You say it like that. Language matters in this moment. Okay, stop. I don't know what you're saying. You're being silly. The sheer arrogance from Israel to say such a thing. I said, maybe they wanted to go see where all the American tax dollars for healthcare go. Like, I wonder why the American assets are moving away from Qatar and like Bahrain. Perhaps the reason why they're doing that is because the only place that they care about in the region is fucking Israel. And that's why they're moving their assets to Israel, because they know they have to defend Israel no matter what. Perhaps that's the reason. Perhaps that's the reason why everyone is moving to fucking Israel. God, the arrogance. It is unfucking bearable, dude.
Is war going to break out? So we've come here to Jerusalem's old city, a place of Roman walls and echoes of past conflicts, to ask people what they think is going to happen.
I'm expecting they're going to attack. Like probably they say a few days going to attack. So I hope okay.
You hope so?
I hope, yeah.
Why? Why do you hope?
Because Iran they give all the money to Gaza or the Hamas, so everything all comes from them, all the money. So I think you need them to take off the head and make a better world.
I'm not going to say anything, but it's hard. It's hard for me to not say anything, but I'm not going to say it. Listen to me. Listen to me. You do not know what you are demanding, okay? you think things will be fine. You think the Iron Dome will hold. You do not understand that there is a high likelihood it does not hold. You are begging for it. Okay? You're begging for it. I don't think you also understand how the world will react to it, because if there's any indication of the 12-day war initially, if the world's reaction to the 12-day war was any indication, I don't think people are going to turn around and say, "Oh no, how did this happen to Israel?" Okay? I think there are a lot of people in the masses that will most likely look at this and go, "Well, what can we do? You begged for it, you demanded it, and now it's happening." Like whenever Israel says, "Oh, we can do this without you," I say, "Fuck yeah, dude. Please go right ahead. I mean, please try. See what fucking happens. See what fucking happens. Play stupid games, win stupid fucking prizes." It's crazy. Like, where is this arrogance coming from, man? How are you this fucking delusional? How are you this delusional? How are you this repulsive? Your ideology, so odious. Your entitlement, so irresponsible. God damn, man. Fascism is such fucking maximalist brain poison, really. I mean, look. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we'll see the day. Who knows? The arrogance and delusion. Let's call out the bluff. Pull the THAAD batteries out. Pull 2 aircraft carriers where I tell the Arab states that we don't care whether or not they have peace with Israel. Yeah, let's do it. Please. Please, I beg of it. I beg for the day. Pull out. Pull out of the region. Let's get our fucking tax dollars to be spent elsewhere on U.S. soil. I'm on board. I'm on board. Oh my God. Go ahead. Make my fucking day. This is true. Israel's already preparing for a new era in U.S. relations. There's a myth, convenient for many supporters and opponents of Israel alike, that Israel hangs by a thread of U.S. support. It hasn't been true for a long time, but arguably it never was. Take, for example, 1948 to 1967. Israel's inner strengths, sense of purpose, innovation, fertility, and fertility. We are Israel. We fuck so much. This is why, also, by the way, notice the age demographic here. Okay, that's a very young Israeli Jew. Okay? For the rest of the world, young Jews living in the Western world are moving away from Zionism and actually becoming very woke on the issue of Israel. They're becoming anti-Zionist. Under the age of 35, when you look at like American Jews under the age of 35, there are more and more people. There's a majority of young American Jews under the age of 35 that self-identify as anti-Zionist. Okay? Israel is the exact opposite, where the younger base of support in Israel is more radical than ever before. Okay? This is why I have said before, time and time again, that Israel's future, okay, Israel's future is a nuclear-armed Orthodox state, okay, with some of the most reactionary and uneducated population that will never enjoy the academic trade, like the back and forth, the cultural exchange that Israel enjoyed for many, many years, ever again. They will be hyper isolated. They will be angry. There is no way out of it, okay? There is no way out of this. A punishment will eventually come. I just don't know when. At least at this point, like we're waiting. We're waiting for when it happens, but it will fucking happen because the alternative is nuclear Armageddon. You're describing Japan? No, I'm describing the opposite of Japan, as a matter of fact. What are you talking about? Israel has been able to withstand the normal like replacement rate issues that many other developed countries have because they lean heavily into their less educated Orthodox population, significantly more conservative, significantly more reactionary, straight up fucking fascist population. That's why when you look at the West Bank and the settlers, They're all so fucking young. Yeah, the demographic data on this is on my side. The next elections in Israel will have the largest influx ever of new voters. They are massively right-wing. A new poll conducted by Channel 12 shows the trend. A record 75% of first-time voters now identify as right-wing, compared to 68% of veteran voters. 49% prefer Benjamin Netanyahu as prime minister, while 24% prefer Naftali Bennett. Remember, Naftali Bennett is also a fucking fascist monster, okay? They don't even want like marginally more woke fascism. They want maximum fascism. Likud leads at 20%. United Torah Judaism is the second most popular party. The Democrats only have 5%. 80% of new voters expressing belief in God, compared to 75% of veterans, and 43% saying they kiss a mezuzah, compared to 33% of veterans. 56% of new voters reported believing in the coming of the Messiah. 56%. They are literally, dude, it is our future if we straight up did not put a stopgap measure. Like, can you imagine America being run almost entirely by like the most rabid evangelical psychos? That's Israel right now. That's fucking Israel right now. That's what's going on in Israel. It's crazy. 46% of new voters say there was a betrayal from within on October 7th. 49% accept the prime minister's claim that cases against them are politically fabricated, compared to 36% who don't. The young voters are right-wing, very religious, and love Netanyahu far more than veteran voters. The next generation will be even more so if the current demographic trends continue. Meanwhile, Benji Sarlin says, worth asking what changes this in the medium term. In the crosstabs, younger Americans are dramatically less sympathetic to Israel, but in Israel, younger voters are even more hardline than older voters. Recipe for acceleration. Where do we go from here? You know? They're fucking rabid. Schumer saying that he sees his job as making the left pro-Israel is roughly politically equivalent to him saying that his job is to make the left pro-life. Yeah. To give you a sense of how few Democratic voters are sympathetic to Israel right now, the percentage who want to ban abortion is roughly the same. Percentage who say abortion should be banned by party identification 2024, Dem leaning Dem 14%. Okay? Think about that. Think about that. It's identical. And guess what? You know who's also saying, well, we got to open up spaces for anti-abortion Democrats? Ezra fucking Klein. These guys are perpetually wrong. Where's my 10K boy? Oh, shut the fuck up. Sympathies more with Israelis or more with Palestinians. The number of Democrats that say they sympathize more with the Israelis at this point is at 17%. Of course, the main driver of Democratic elected support for Israel is not voters, but donors. 20 years ago, I used to bring up the Middle East at Democratic meetings and people would get tense. It was controversial. Now you walk into a Democratic meeting in a suburb in Marietta and 9 out of 10 grandmas will say Israel sucks. I'm not exaggerating. I've seen it with my own two eyes, man. I went to a fucking fundraiser, a Democratic Party fundraiser at like at a Hollywood producer's house. They were Jewish. Most of the audience, most of the fundraisers were Jewish. They all fucking hated Israel. When I walked in, okay, it was all old white people. I thought to myself, oh fuck, this is like hostile territory. They're gonna hate me. They're gonna be like, why'd you bring this like, Hamasnik into the fold? The Barbers and the Deborahs are straight up. The Barbers and the Deborahs are straight up on that fuck Israel tip. Remember that Iron Dome failing led to real capital flight back to Russia and New York? Yeah, we watch this shit every day live. And these are sites that we might see once again if America keeps acting up. I'm just saying, especially at a time when Israel's popularity is so fucking bad, dude. Good luck. Good luck to Israel. Good luck to America. It don't matter how many people fear Iran. It don't matter how many people fucking fear what they perceive as like the Islamist threat. People fucking hate Israel, dude, for good reason. Israel deserves all of that hatred, all of that animosity. They brought it upon themselves. Meanwhile, I can't be alone in looking at the incredible sights from the Chinese satellites Chinese satellites basically catch deckhands picking their fucking noses nowadays. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't realize the tech had advanced that much. It's crazy. It's crazy. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're you don't have enough assets on top of the aircraft carrier." Like, I don't know. It seems like the left wheel is not inflated enough on your F-16 fighter jet on the left side.
Would you, if America doesn't attack, do you think Israel should attack?
Yeah, I should. Yeah. If we won't attack, they will attack us.
Are you worried or not?
Not really, but it's tense. It's tense, unexpectedly. We don't know what's going to happen in the next hour. So people, some of them are really scared. But what's going to happen?
That's good. Perhaps they should voice that concern by telling the government not to pursue such exterminationist policies. Like, the craziest... This guy is Arab?
Will happen.
Well, what I hear, yes, to be honest with you, what I hear from the news, from the television, from everything, I think yes. To be honest with you, nobody like war.
That guy's definitely Arab.
Nobody like war in all the world. Because my friend, war is kill everybody. Yani, look, like Jerusalem, we was closing 3 years for the corona. We open 1 year after the corona. We close now 2 years, you know, when we have the war again between Gaza and Israel. You know, the peace is the important things in all the world. The peace is the important things.
I'm not nervous or anything. I'm sitting and learning in yeshiva here. You know, I believe in God.
Ya Allah. Is that guy Arab? What do you think, bro? No, motherfucker. That dude is from Massachusetts. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Can't you tell? What is this? Iran designated as a state sponsor of wrongful detention? What? They've already designated Iran as a state sponsor of terror. What? The embassy staff still? Bro, what is this? Are they lowering the status from terrorist to wrongful detention? Also, that's crazy ironic. Especially when it's Marco Rubio, who's Mr. Wrongful Detention. He is the state sponsor of endless amounts of wrongful detention right now, including yesterday and today and will be tomorrow. Breaking, the U.S. State Department has issued urgent warnings to its citizens regarding Iran, demanding that the Iranian regime immediately release all American hostages. The department also reiterated its call for all Americans currently in Iran to leave the country without delay and strongly advised any travel against Iran for any reason. I don't even know.
And I believe that whatever he wants to happen is going to happen. And so, you know, I think his plan's going to work. So
you're pretty relaxed.
I'm pretty relaxed.
About whatever happens, happens.
Whatever happens, happens. And it's his plan. So, you know, whatever happens, happens.
As the full scale of Jeffrey
Is this real? What is this? Iran agreed in talks with the U.S. never to stockpile enriched uranium. Mediator Oman's top diplomat says in what he calls a breakthrough that he hopes would prevent U.S. war in Iran. Yeah, except as I talked to with Ben Rhodes last night, they keep adding additional qualifiers to this fucking mediation process because the goal of the mediation process from Israel's side is not to actually reach a conclusion. The goal is the opposite.
Damn, this guy's good.